Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second show here on the Graveyard Shift podcast. Of course, we're doing this every week, and things are going to be a little bit different from week to week. Usually, it'll be me, Jake, and Lightbringer. This week, we got no Jake because he's out in Paris, and next week, they'll have no me because I'll be in Korea. But you know what? We have some continuity here, and we're looking to bring on guests, where this week we got Crayon joining us. So, Lightbringer, Crayon, thank you for joining on the show. And guys, we finally got the ranked patch.
Yeah, everyone seems to be excited about it. Glad to be here, and I mean, we can go over. I haven't even read the notes, so Crayon's gonna fill me in apparently.
Yeah. So the ranked update seems to be kind of similar to the current one, where they decide to basically consolidate the original system of having everyone pick your heroes to start, but they're doing like a sort of draft at the start of the game. Like at the start of every game, you can switch your hero, kind of war style, and they also have 3 bans implemented now. And they have some new stuff too, where you cannot play heroes that you don't have more than 15 wins on. I feel like it's a good step towards, like, at least if they're not going to add drafts, it's like a good compromise.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the point that I wanted to get to here is that I think compromise is the right word. I think for the current state of the game, I'm actually a little bit impressed with the solution that they went with here because I think it bridges the gap a bit. Long term, is it going to stop people from demanding draft as things like the comp scene gets more evolved? You get more tournaments, and in general, people just get better and more adept at the game and get more annoyed at like, well, okay, if they just get these heroes for free, we lose. No. Is this still a big step up over just full RNG? And does it give people at least some degree of control that makes them feel better, even if it doesn't actually impact a lot of the games? Having the idea that something is in your control will improve people's mental. So to me, I actually think this is a step forward. We'll bring up the notes on stream here in a moment, but overall, I think this was definitely a step in the right direction. It's not the longest term solution, but I think for the next like 6 months to a year, to me, it seems good.
So whenever you're going to switch characters, then is it a blind change? Like the enemy can't see what you're doing?
It's partly blind.
They see your starting hero.
They can't see what you're doing, but also there's this weird, probably gamesmanship to it where if you try and swap to something that's already picked, it won't let you and you don't lose your swap, but you only get one swap. So like if you guess like, oh, I think they're going to play this hero and you're right, you won't be able to swap to that. But if you're wrong, then you're now locked into that hero. So there's this like weird, like, I'm going to try and guess what hero they're on. And if you guess right, you get
it's like a mind game.
Yeah,
I was gonna actually buy it Lightbringer because I was thinking of it like a fighting game, kind of like you can just option select a hero. Like for example, right? I can queue Billy, right? And then let's say I want to play Vindicta. Actually, I'll just queue Billy at the start, and then when the drafts or the quote unquote draft starts, right? You can switch to Vindicta last second, and then they wouldn't like counterpick a Vindicta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't this also gonna grief your games where people are like, they know that the queues are slower on carry characters or something like that, and they're just queuing as Mo and then swapping to like
exactly. Yes, that's what I think is gonna happen too. It's like a social engineering thing where like it's gonna be like really troll for the first few days.
Well, doesn't it also help characters like there's characters that traditionally like people have wanted to play them like Sinclair, and it's like you just kind of can't pick Sinclair sometimes. But
yes,
now you could kind of adjust and make it.
Oh, actually, okay. So that's a really good point. Is this entire part where because you can you see the enemy's initial composition, and then you can swap. Doesn't this actually just suck ass for Dynamo players? Where it's like
it does, yeah.
In a way, okay. Does this not actually turn the strategy of the Dynamo to where you queue in as anything but Dynamo? And then you swap Dynamo.
Exactly, yes.
Because you avoid Sinclair, like the Sinclair player from like going like, oh shit, there's a Dynamo. I'm just gonna go Sinclair.
I wonder if they should just hide the comps altogether because it seems like it doesn't actually add information.
Well, okay, I think the reason they let you see the other team's comp, I realize, is because you cannot pick heroes they have selected at the start. Like, let's say they have Abrams on their side. You can't switch to Abrams on your side, I think. Unless they switch away from Abrams. It's really weird, apparently. Like, unless the Abrams players on the other side, for example, changes, then you cannot pick Abrams.
And someone said bans were improved. Did they change something at bans?
There's 3 bans now, I think, instead of 2.
I feel like the bans thing is kind of like I feel like people just think it's an RNG mechanic. Like, I've seen people complain, like, I have Mirage banned. Everyone on my team has Mirage banned. Why is there a Mirage in my game? I've actually seen that complaint before, and
I think it is RNG. I think someone tested it.
I mean,
it is. it's like it's not a bag system. Like if 5 people vote for one character and one person doesn't, it would still count it like it's a 50-50, basically.
Yeah. Band's algorithm got. Wait, did it? I still haven't finished reading this.
All right, I'm gonna bring up the patches. I've done fiddling behind the scenes, so we're gonna go and bring up the actual notes here, so people that are tuning in have an idea. But also, by the way, we're working to get it up either today or tomorrow. We are going to get this up on the more audio-based formats like Spotify and Apple. The long pole in the tent there has been Apple. We're setting up an Apple account is actually way more of a pain than I would have expected for this, but we'll try and like describe stuff, you know, a bit audio wise, but obviously for some of the graphics, like I don't know, there's brick rank now, like, you know, use your imagination. But
Yep.
okay,
Yeah, I think that the changing heroes thing is probably going to be adjusted at some point to work slightly differently.
yeah, because
We have a new meme as well for the lowest rank. We could be brick low.
it's also an insect, like your bug rank, brick rank, like
Yeah.
that is. I like that they don't pull punches on here. Like, I don't know, it's kind of funny because there's so many different theories about you know, making people feel good on ranks and like how to feel better. I feel like there's something to be said for like climbing the ladder and being like, oh yeah, I was brick rank and I eventually got up and over, versus it's like, oh, you know, is this hurting anyone's feelings that, you know, they're brick? Yeah, I actually think this is fine. I think people that, you know, some people might have a reaction like, oh, you know, is this good? It's like, guys, you're overthinking it. Like, it's fine. Like,
I want D rank to be a rat.
Yeah.
The rat one looks the best. Like I want them to let you like keep the badges for like the other ones, kind of, because some of them actually do look pretty cool.
My wife really liked the owl one and the rat one. I mean, but she's a big rats fan, so she likes rats.
The rats. We are the rats.
One more thing. I mean, I haven't even updated my game. I was watching the stream back with my team, but I was wondering, did they remove the there was like a skill ranking thing in your profile. That's how you. Oh, I'm a turn 6 or whatever, right? Is that still in the game?
Yes. You go to the hero vote page or like area in the hideout.
Yeah, like you
So
actually have like a plaque in your hideout that like keeps record of what your highest rank was over the course of the season. Where, by the way, now that they're doing this, like the original ranking system was going to keep score of stuff, but all that got deleted when they deleted the old ranking system. This is the part here where if you're worried about your credibility going forward or just want to show off, like I think from here on out, the intent to me is that everything is getting recorded. Like beta season 1 will go down in history forever. So if you're sitting there and you want to be like, look at the achievements I have on my account and all the rest, you actually have to take the season seriously. You don't want to be the guy that's like,
Okay,
yeah, you know, you weren't in Turnus back in beta season 1 though.
Yeah.
I did log into the game, and the page that I was talking about is it's the one in the profile menu, and that one is gone. So if you only queue casual, you no longer have to worry about, oh, I'm losing my Eternus, or you know, like Oracle rank or
Yeah,
whatever
you
you were
play.
that you're upset about. So you can actually just log in and play the game. And I feel like this is the main thing that kind of was missing from back in 2024. If you guys all remember when they hard kind of forced ranked on everyone, and a lot of people just played the game to play the game, and you saw a lot of stupid builds and people just having fun with it. And I feel like adding the rank kind of sucked a lot of that out of the game. So I'm really happy to see them remove that for the casual queue, so you can just get your friends into it, play casual. Doesn't matter what rank everyone is. You just kind of play the game and shoot people and have fun. I'm glad that this is back.
So let's break down some of the interesting restrictions that they have on ranked here, and you know, kind of talk about, does it fix some of the issues that people have in ranked. First and foremost, this is not very Smurf friendly. Where obviously, look, you know, you look at games like League, people have gone to great lengths to have Smurf accounts. This is not going to eliminate Smurf accounts, but it will, you know, when you have to have at least 60 wins in standard. Like, I want to make this clear. Wins, not games. 60 wins.
Yeah.
So on its own here, and by the way, you might wonder, is like, well, what does that matter? Well, here's the thing. If you're a Smurf trying to make a new account quickly and you're playing to win in all those games in standard is still going to have loose matchmaking behind the scenes, right? And that loose matchmaking is going to be taken into account for your placement games. So the fact that you have to have 60 wins means that if you're trying to make like an absolute just like piss low account, you have to throw and still get like 60 wins. That's a very large sample size. Like, yes, people are going to do it, but this is a pretty big hurdle to making fresh Smurf accounts. And
Yeah.
I mean, simple as.
I mean, the downside to it is that there's already a bunch of alt accounts that exist, and they
Yeah.
were easy to matchmake
Well,
with and stuff. So like those already exist.
They
That
they,
kind
they
of sucks.
did do something about that though, because you for ranked as well, you have to queue heroes and have 15 wins on a hero to be able to play them, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like another
But yeah, I
barrier
guess some people
entry.
just one tricked as well, right? They would just one trick with their friend in a duo and Smurf.
Yeah,
and
like a lot of people would
make
just
the game
play
super
like
fun.
Wraith or something and just win 100
Yeah.
games. But like if you only have Wraith on your character unlock, you have to play another 30. I think it's like you have to play at least minimum 45 wins on 3 different heroes, right? In total.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. And if you guys played Overwatch, Overwatch had a similar system, I believe, for competitive. But Overwatch games are over in like they can be over in like 10 minutes. They can be over like super short, maybe 10 minutes, a little bit of exaggeration.
Yeah, it's much harder
but
to smurf in Overwatch. Not a lot of people
Yeah.
smurf in Overwatch.
And I mean, it was like 100 games or something like that. But this game, like 100 games of Deadlock is that's a lot of time. That is actually a lot of time. On
Mhm.
average, a game is taking like 30 minutes, maybe longer if you're starting in really low MMR because people just don't know how to W key. You could be looking at like upwards of 45 minutes a game for over 100 games, which is it's a lot of time. So there should be a pretty heavy reduction in Smurfs, but I mean, obviously that doesn't change anything for casual queue.
Also, I think the other thing that reduces Smurfs inherently a bit, like again, it's not getting rid of it. Actually having a real ranked season also kind of encourages people when you have like any form of stakes for ranked, you make it more appealing to spend more time on your main accounts and less time on screwing around. Because I think there's been this environment, especially like on the top end of like, yeah, I'm on E6 on like, 8 different accounts. Like, I just don't care anymore ranked wise. Like, and the less people care about the rank system, the more people are going to mess around and like make the games bad. Once you start having an actual ranked season, and you're making things a little bit more regimented and a little bit more rewarding to actually play on your main account where you're getting permanent rewards and all the rest, you sort of have these soft incentives to do less smurfing too. So in general, that's also going to help the matchmaking experience. Again, nothing is perfect. You are still going to get throwers, you're still going to get trolls, you're still going to get smurfs, but it's just about how many in the percentage of your games are you getting.
Yeah, I
there's
think that
another note
adding
as
more
well for
barriers
Eternus
to
being percentile too. So that's actually so nice. Like Eternus 6 isn't just like the thing you ding. It's like you actually have to be the best of the best to be Eternus 6 now. Like being Eternus is possible, but actually getting up to the top level of Eternus is going to be pretty difficult with the
Yeah.
percentile change.
I also think that one of the biggest things too that is I really am happy that the rank system is going to be something that people it's like a reset, right? Because a lot of times like when the for a lot of games, right? Like without a reset, it gets so dry like 3 months in and people just don't care anymore, especially. Like you'll see it even
Yeah.
with like but I don't know, a good example is like for complete unrelated games like Arc Raiders, right? That game has no wipes and a lot of people just stop playing it because there's nothing to do once you hit the top.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no tension, right? Like Tarkov is completely different in that respect, where it's just like you're losing all your crap, and like everything's gonna wipe, and it's the ladder up that makes it's the journey that makes it interesting, not the end destination.
Yeah, and a lot of
right?
people like playing the journey over again.
Also,
you're
that's
right.
kind of funny that Arc Raiders, this is total tangent, but that they shot themselves in the foot on that, where I am sorry. Like, I understand some people's like, oh my, maybe some people are really in the case of like, I get 1 hour to play video games once every 2 weeks. The reset is going to ruin my life. The way like a lot of games work, and it's like a very proven model, is that resets reinvigorate games. Like it is incredibly important. Like a game without a reset is eventually a game where like you just hit stagnation. For games in that genre. So yeah, resets are very vital.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good. Only bad
There's some
thing
other
is
protections as well. In matchmaking for this though, I do like that you can only play with someone within I think the same plus or minus 1 rank, was it? I think
Yes.
by
if you're in
default.
Eternus, yes.
Yeah, no. In Eternus, they limited it by sub ranks, and in Overwatch, it was
Oh, so
really
you
played by
only
these people at
like
min
Eternus
max.
1 and 2?
Yeah, so what he's saying here, Crayon,
yeah.
is that like if you're Ascendant, you can queue with like low Eternus and you can queue with Phantom. If you're Phantom, you can queue with Oracle and Ascendant, but you can't queue with Eternus. Like you're
but
basically
Eternus-
limited.
Yeah, Eternus is
Oh no,
Eternus
Eternus is
only
only
matchmaking.
Eternus, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, but it's the sub ranks within that. So if you're Eternus 1, you can queue with someone up to Eternus 3, which is kind of nice because I feel like if they didn't have this protection, you'd see people with those alt accounts that we mentioned at Eternus 1 and be like, oh, yeah, let's do it with Eternus 6 because it's percentile based now. So winning those games counts for quite a bit more. So it's nice that they restricted it to Eternus. I guess it would be either 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm still
What
concerned about like the camping of ranks though. Have they said anything about decay or anything? Because it is true that people are going to grind, especially with reset happening. But what if you hit rank 1, right? A lot of rank 1 players last patch just sat on a new ult account after they got rank 1, or just played like Street Brawl all day.
Okay, I think that's because of there being like a cap. Like there's like 20 rank 1 people in EU right now, right?
Yes.
I
I don't
don't know
think
if that's
there will
capped though,
be
that's
anymore,
right.
right? They shouldn't be,
Well,
right?
it's percentile based. I don't think you can actually just camp rank 1 anymore. I don't think that's a real thing you can do. I could be wrong. I don't know. We have to see until people even get to Eternus. Like,
Yeah,
when you
I
can
want to
place
see.
in,
I
like,
want to see
Oracle or something,
decay. That's what I'm thinking. Hopefully,
by
okay,
the way,
last week it was a patch of like I think it took a month to decay from your rank or something.
the other really important thing here,
Yeah.
and this is also something that like people get in knockdown, drag out debates over, and there will be some people who are like, well, this ruins my ranked experience because I play with friends. Solo or duo only, I think, is incredibly, like, absurdly important to have a matchmaker work with any consistency. In fact, like, if you go like deep into like how matchmaking works, even allowing duo queue where people can go from like queuing with one other to solo queue introduces a lot of noise into the algorithm. And but
sure.
when you go beyond that, when you go from like I usually play with my 4-stack, holy shit, like you are not getting accurate data. Like it just has this like actually absurd butterfly effect on the entire ladder system. And to give you just paint an example of like why this is the case, in case you're hearing this being like, this guy's wrong, he sucks, I love playing in my 5-stack. The issue is, right, let's say you're someone that you get to rank X and it's normally from playing within your 5-stack. And let's say the 5-stack is carrying, right? It could go in either direction. Also, you could be carrying them. You don't, unless you're playing every single game with that 5-stack, when you change out players, it like has this butterfly effect where maybe let's say you're boosted essentially by playing with them, and then you have a day of games where you play solo and the system thinks you are better than you are because of your time in the 5-stack. You are now like screwing up a whole bunch of games that you're in that maybe could otherwise be matched. But because you're screwing up those games, the people that are gaining or losing rank sort of in an inaccurate way from those games then go on to screw up other games, and you know, on and on you go, because you just, you know, rating people accurately in group versus out of group is, it's a very, very complex thing. And like, yes, there's like ways that people have like tried the, you know, in various different companies tried to like get close, but the reality is there's like no substitute for just limiting it to solo or duo if you're trying to like lower matchmaking noise and like all these after effects that you get from people queuing with friends for ranked.
Fair.
I was hoping that they were
know.
going to add like a semi type of group ranked. I was thinking that they could do something similar to other games where like if you queue at 6, right, you can queue ranked, but it's a separate like 6-man queue or something with a separate rank.
I
Like
was
I
about
was
to say as a
surprised they didn't try
counterpoint
that.
to like what ZP said as well is when I first learned Dota, it was a bunch of my Swedish buddies. There's always more than one person, right, who wanted to play. So there's always at minimum 3 people. And back then, I don't know how it is now. I haven't played Dota in like 10 years, but back then, there were no like named ranks. It was just a number. And you had solo queue and you had party queue. And party queue and solo queue were completely separate MMRs. And the party queue was just basically like everyone in this queue will be in a party, pretty much. And I always thought that was like a good idea. And I really like the idea of encouraging people in some capacity to play as a stack, because if you go back to 2024 Deadlock, the best games were 6-stacks versus 6-stacks. Like those were the most fun games to watch as well. So I think encouraging team play in a team game is the ultimate end goal. Is it viable? Probably not, but that would be like my preference if I had to pick something to do.
It is viable, but you have to do something that companies usually are pretty lazy about doing. So I think back to games like Heroes of the Storm, where they actually did have like a mode at one point for like full team queue, and no one fucking used it. The reason, the reason though is that you have to give rewards. Like, if you want people to play your team queue and you want to encourage people to make teams do the other rest, you have to give really attractive rewards that people feel really bad about missing out on if they don't participate. You cannot just drop like a team queue, a full 6-man queue, and be like, well, just do it for the love of the game. People are not going to do it for the love of the game. They're just going to play solo and like duo otherwise.
Yep. What's the thing that League does? They do it on weekends. It's kind of like how Overwatch.
I got you. I got you. In League, it's called Clash. It's like a
Clash
weekly tournament that gives you a skin if you win.
Yeah, it could be like even a money prize, but just do like what Deadlock did in the very beginning. Have timed queues for party queue and do a reward at the top. Boom! Like, and you have some
Yep.
fantastic like things to watch during the weekend or whatever. That would be so sick. I don't know. I would
Oh,
love that.
that's a really good idea, by the way. That like I also like. I actually think you can even do it for like solo queue. Like my idea going way back in the day for like things like Overwatch, right, is that I think the idea of expecting true quality ranked from a 24/7 ladder is a little bit misguided because when you have a 24/7 always available ladder, that's where people are more likely to mess around. That's where like you're also not going to concentrate players for like better matchmaking. If you a game had something along the lines of like a 24/7 ladder, but then like a different ranked mode where it was like this is available 3 hours a day, 2 or 3 days a week sort of deal for this season, then that makes the matches within that window incredibly high quality because you stop and think about it even from the perspective of like smurfing and griefing, right? If you only have 3 hours of getting quality games for like the ultimate ladder in a game, are you going to spend a lot of that time on a smurf if it comes at the expense of your main where you're actually not going to be able to get to where you want on your main because it's limited? Probably not. But the biggest benefit is just that it concentrates the matchmaking, right? Like,
Yeah, it makes the highest quality games.
Yep.
I was theorizing that they could do something similar. Like, okay, so I think that one of the biggest problems with high elo, for example, is that like once you hit a certain rank, if you're queuing at like 12 or later, the matchmaker has to do two things. They either give you like a 2 hour long eternity queue, or like this is so many meme videos of like I think in Overwatch, right? People with
Yeah,
I
it's
think it
Overwatch.
was Froggy or something. I forgot her name. It's a really famous Overwatch streamer. She would play at like 12 a.m. or 12, and like she would queue for 8 hours and finish like entire single player games waiting for a queue. Or the other
I
alternative,
mean,
which
that's
Deadlock
like
has done. Like a
I was gonna say that's just completely reasonable experience. Even I had like 3 hour queues in
yeah.
Overwatch. Like it was awful.
Yeah, exactly. But Deadlock, what they do is they basically just say, okay, the queue is taking too long. We're going to broaden the skill requirements, right? So turret players can now
Yeah.
match with Ascendant, and then it gets worse and worse, right? And people don't like that because they're like, oh my god, I waste this long and I get this lobby, and it's like for a lot of pro players, they're like, wow, this is like not even worth the wait.
Also,
So
I
I
kind of
do like
wonder.
the time slots because it prevents that entire issue, right? Because everyone's just queuing at the same
Yeah.
time. There's none of that.
Also, I think again, if the goal is to like find the best players, if you do like a ranked window, I think it gives people like more of a mental reset where it's not, oh, I'm just on this eternal 24/7 grind. It's like I'm going to really just lock in for this 3 hour window. And then you have the rest that's like kind of whatever. I think there is room for like two types of ladders. Probably not going to happen anytime soon though, because the downside is that you do split the player base. There could be knockoff effects, and who knows if such a thing can happen anyways. We're kind of pie in the sky theory crafting. One interesting thing here though, I wonder when it says like Eternus players can only queue with another Eternus player, does that mean Eternus games are just going to be pure gated and only Eternus games, or will the matchmakers still like kind of limit test Ascendant 6 players, and will the lowest tier be like Ascendant 6 with like Eternus 1? I feel like that could actually go either way, even if Eternus players can only queue with Eternus players and not like Ascendant.
If I had to guess, I would say that the first Eternus players are gonna have really, really, really long queues. That would be my take. I think they might actually just full gate it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think that's one of the bigger complaints that people have. Like, if you're a high MMR player and you queue up, and like, do you know that the lane two sides over is like an Oracle lane, and you get lane swapped on as well, and that lane is just getting hard farmed. You're super unhappy. So I feel like they want to try to avoid that at all costs. My assumption would be that it's gated at like the divisions.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, that's kind of a funny thing about Deadlock Ladder that people don't talk about enough is that, because the game does like, or like previously was trying to like match lane to lane for MMR. And
Oh, that's another thing too. Yes,
yeah,
they did do
that
that
is
as well.
actually like really bad because like again, if you recognize the system works this way and you're like high Eternus person goes out of the way to like pick a hero that's like super abusive if they have a strong lane
lead.
phase, i.e. something like a Mirage, right? And you're like the highest ranked player on your team is a Mirage who goes against like the lowest ranked player on the other team in lane and kills them 4 or 5 times in the lane, and the Mirage gets ultra giga fed. It's like, okay, this game's just over. Like,
I think the worst part is as well, since the comps, it feels like there's some kind of draft going on, right? And the worst part is if the lowest ranked person on your team, like the comparison is like the Wraith player, like your carry. So if you got like your worst player is Wraith and the enemy's best player is Mirage or some other carry, and they're just
Yeah,
getting
it's not
hard
comparable.
farmed, you're not even playing the game anymore. Like it's just the game's just over. It feels
It's just a
horrible.
1v1 game at that point. That's what it feels
Yeah,
like.
it's actually
It's
yeah,
it's
it's
very
bad.
gamey. Like the way people played ranked before, the very like you're not actually playing how Deadlock is supposed to be played in a way. You're basically just enacting like it's just a pseudo 1v1 and you pretend the other 5 people are like bots.
Yeah, and you lane swap to avoid each other from the first 10 minutes of the game as well, which is I think it's really stupid.
Okay, so to move things along here, things of note here. They have the entire like setup of how ranked points are going to work. I mean, this is all pretty standard. It's not. I don't see this as particularly interesting one way or another. Like, obviously, you have to explain how it works, but I mean, play game, win, rank up. Okay, actually, this is interesting though. The rank loss protection playing ranked. You have. So this is not a Marvel Rivals thing. Before people see that, it's like, what do you mean? Loss protection?
No shields.
Yeah, no.
No rank shields.
It's more so. I'm sure the way this works when it's saying, gives you X amount of points on average, your internal MMR is still probably getting hit every time you lose. It's just about like the display to you if it decides like, have you gotten owned to the point that, you deserve to drop a full rank.
I mean, the only
what I
downside
see.
of this is there's guaranteed to be inflation in your ranks, right? So if what they're saying is true, where you're plus or minus 250 points on average, like every single game, even with the rank loss thing going on, it means that your rank will inflate over time regardless. Like, if you're like an average winning player, you will climb. So,
Well, maybe not, because I think what this, my assumption here, and again, I could be wrong. Like we don't have all the data that's here, but the way a lot of these things work is that even when your display isn't changing on this, like if you're sitting here and going like 20% win rate at, here they say Mystic 1, right? If you're at 20% win rate, your MMR is actually like going down so much that when you get a win, you're going to get like 20 points for a win or something. And then like a ton of points like off on a loss. So like, even if you're not getting, losing to a degree that it's immediately bringing you down, you're not going to be able to climb if you've like absolutely tanked your hidden MMR. That's again,
I mean,
my
we'll
assumption.
see. We'll see. Because, like,
Yeah.
they only mentioned the win streak. So they might actually just make it very charitable for people playing the game.
There,
So, I mean, we'll
there's
see.
that is something I hope they don't incorporate from other MOBAs. Like in I think League and Valorant, the Riot Games brand, they have like a hidden MMR that gives you points, right? But if your MMR is so tanked, you literally do not climb. Like let's say that let's pretend like a pro player got into an account that's like, I don't know, really bad win rate, right? Their MMR, even if they had like a 9% win rate after, is like near unfixable, and it would take you like thousands of games to get to like your rank, basically.
Yeah, I think the Valve systems are a little bit smarter in implementation there. Like, I think they rely a little bit heavier on uncertainty. And again, this is just my understanding. It actually could be wrong. This is, going off of like various things I've heard. But, win streaks, I think if things are programmed right, like you mentioned 97% win rate, a properly coded rank system should be like, okay, this guy was total crap, but this man just won, like, went 18-1 in the previous games. The system should now be uncertain, and as a result, you start letting them climb, right? Because clearly something has gone wrong, and like an algorithm can reflect that ideally. Like you shouldn't be like that hard stuck in where it's like, I don't know, you're 18-1 in the last 20 games, but before that, you tanked like 1,000 in a row. You're still going to be in the doldrums. Like it should recognize like, hey, wait, there's a big change here. We can, loosen the shackles a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I am a lot of people also have been DMing me about the current patch, and a lot of people are not happy with the like. Since it's been a soft reset, there's a lot of people who are not Turnus that are in these Turnus games with the Turnus players, and I think it's mostly just people don't know what to expect with like the system, right? Like until people are fully like registered by the system and there's a lot of games played, the sample size is not gonna be great, and the matchmakers are gonna do like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that people don't just give up on it early. Like my biggest concern is that like just like the old ranked update, people gave up on that within like 2 weeks or something, and then just queued normal all day. Like I'm kind of concerned that maybe people are just have the same feelings now.
Okay,
that they did back then.
I'm gonna like look behind the very obvious reasons in terms of the timing here. I think it is exceedingly obvious because of the chaos that this is going to do with a soft reset, which by the way is like when people just like hard rank resets, etc. I think there is a time and a place, but it has to be done so sparingly because, to your point, Crayon, it does create like this form of chaos. Look at the timing of this. this is a ranked patch that has come out at a point where there is no new hero release at the moment. Like, no new heroes are out, no otherwise new content. It is just ranked. I think the intent here is that you get ahead of a lot of the chaos, especially for your most dedicated players. So when a content patch does come out, which is when the game has your big player base spikes, that you don't bundle this in here. So you don't have all the people coming back to Deadlock after a long period of time.
Oh, that's
getting
true
the
too.
Eternus
Yeah.
people into the game. Like, the entire point right now is to have the chaos now, and not when you have something that's going to be like, you want this right now. You don't want this when new patches hit where, the concurrent users spike to like 500,000 or, something along those lines.
Yeah, and then ranked is actually just awful at that point. Yeah, you want to keep all that separated for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also a lot of people returning for the ranked update that also could be affecting the MMR. Because there's people who've been ascendant in Eternus that haven't played in a while, and they come back and the game's like, I would say if you haven't played the game in 3 months, there is drastically different. Like, there's a new rifts, items are way different. People, the way people play the game is different. So it's gonna be kind of like a weird interim period right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Although I think the game does, like, again, not entirely sure the new rank system, how it interacts with the soft reset, but the game also does, like, jack up your uncertainty a lot if you haven't played. Like, one of the strategies, if you have an account where you want to rank it up, where a lot of people, where they've gotten really good, but, like, they're climbing slowly on their main, and then they play on an alt and they climb really fast. Like, if you're trying to be time efficient on your main, one of the strategies people have used for a long time is that you just don't play on your main for a while, and you let your main basically become uncertain, and then you come in. So to your point about the people coming back, like, I think, okay, I'm not trying to encourage alt accounts per se, but I think if you are someone with more than one account, and you haven't played the game in a while, and your main account is at a good rank, you're kind of stupid if you do your beginning games back when you're unrusting on your main account, because the system's gonna be like, whoa, this guy sucks now, and just torpedo your MMR to like the depths of hell.
I think actually, that's to your point, Valve actually does have a system like that, except for your main account. In Dota, you can, after, like, it's like a time thing. Every like year or two, I'm not sure what the rules are 100%, but basically you can just do like a full reset of your ranked. Like, they'll recalibrate your their confidence.
Oh, that's right.
score
Yeah,
on you.
there's like a button. Yeah, you can just reset your rank.
It's not like if you're like high rank, you just reset the low rank. It's more so like they reset your confidence, and they're like, all right, you're gonna play these games and see how good you perform now.
Also,
you basically do your placements again. Is pretty much what it is.
Recalibrating you.
Didn't Dota eventually also like put in a much harsher anti-smurf system where, I assume that if they did that in Dota, it is going to come to Deadlock at some point.
Yeah, they did. The way it works is you have to link your phone or something to your Steam account.
Yeah, they don't want Smurfs. I mean, they'll make some measures, but they'll never completely stop it. Also, with the way the ranked works now, I think we might see an uptick in account sellers, maybe. Like, all characters unlocked for ranked or whatever, it might be actually like a valuable asset for people. So there's actually some value in having accounts sold.
While we do still have like a lot to cover, I guess I will touch on this very briefly. Just I think it's a fun thing anytime like you're talking about accounts and these sorts of things. Is there such a thing? Like, some people are in different camps of like what to think about Smurfs and all accounts. I'm kind of the stance. I think like having like one alt account that you use, like not when you're not to troll or anything, but just like to use for like a warm-up game or trying new things out, etc. I feel like that's ethical if you're not trying to like purposely like have it be tanked or anything like that. The part that's like somewhat less ethical when it comes to alt accounts and Smurf accounts when you're using it to massively like misrepresent your rank between the two. Like, I don't know what you guys think here, but I feel like whatever system they have someday, in my mind, ideally it is something where it's like you get one alt account if you're using it as a reasonable person and not as a way to circumvent things.
I think with this patch, like any justification for an alt account is just thrown out the window, because there's no MMR in casual queue. You can play all the characters. There's nothing on the line. It's just win or lose, go to the next game. It's kind of like Street Ball Plus, I guess, way you see it. So I mean, previously you could kind of justify an alt account like, oh, I want to learn a completely different role or whatever. Nowadays, just play casual queue until you kind of get the hang of it, then put it into rank.
I got devil's advocate here for you. Let's say you're serious about your main account and playing well on your main, and you're trying to add extra heroes into your roster. The problem is that you go like, oh, just play casual mode for that. people still are going to play different in casual mode and how seriously they're taking it and how they're working around it to where like if your goal is to have like the full ranked experience on a new character you are learning, and again, trying to learn it in good faith, not trolling, etc. I feel like you can actually only do that in ranked. Like, I don't know if casual is like a replacement for that level of experience. So, again, if you're very serious about your main account, but then you want to like get good at things that you want to incorporate to your main, that's where I see the justification for like one alt account, personally.
I don't know. I'm definitely. I think this is splitting hairs. I think for me, I'd just say just play on your main. I don't know. That's just my vote.
Crayon, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the criticism definitely is just like just playing your main, like Bria said.
Yeah.
I'm sure the alt account thing could be a thing where, like, let's say that you want to learn something really special. It's like in this game, right? The most special character I would say that you probably should play alt account on is Sinclair. If you want to actually become a really good Sinclair player, you have to grind that. Like most Sinclair players that actually play the hero have like at least like 200 games on the hero at this point in time.
I don't know. I think you should just play on your main if you have the opportunity to. Like, I feel like if you got to a certain rank on a and it doesn't matter what role, any role, you understand the flow of the game. So you should kind of be using the casual mode to understand the mechanical nature of your character. The flow of the game itself should come regardless of your role.
Oh, that is another thing. I do agree, by the way. I think that technically speaking, if you're a Turner 6 and you're on like a character you've never played before, you should still be a Turner player. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people over exaggerate, especially with the hero MMR back in the day. I don't know if hero MMR is still in the game, but the only hero MMR people used to exaggerate and be like, "Oh my god, I only played silver to Eternus. I can't be that good on like a carry." But you're just better at like understanding the game faster than like anyone below Eternus at that point. You know?
Yeah, like
That's how I see
the
it.
raw mechanics, like not walking up and dying after like 25 minutes or whatever, and just basic stuff like that. You'll have embedded in yourself. I don't think you need like a safety net to learn new stuff.
All right. Moving on. Last two notes here. I mean, they made abandons and penalties. Like everything around here generally got stricter. Of just don't ruin games, effectively.
Yeah, you can't abandon with your mate either. Like you will get punished as well. So make sure you kill with someone who can play, I guess.
If your friend has bad Wi-Fi, cut him loose. Leaderboard stuff here. It's kind of interesting because I wonder if the leaderboard will take more importance as time goes on. Like maybe this is me undervaluing it because I have a bias towards like pure comp play, but is this enough to make the leaderboard really important for people, or like should the leaderboard have more frills and like rewards sort of deal? Because I don't know, I kind of look at the leaderboard in its previous incarnation and it's kind of like, okay, it's there and it's like it's somewhat of a indicator, but oftentimes you'd have the number one players in some cases on heroes, like people that definitely were not like close to that. And I don't know if people took it like super seriously. Like, I don't know. I kind of look at the leaderboard here and wonder is like what you could do to really make this something that people strive for rather than it's like, oh gee, that's nice.
I mean, is this the legacy leaderboard? Is there a new leaderboard now? Wait, let me look.
There's a legacy leaderboard, and there's gonna be a new one that's no one's on it yet. I think if you're like top 10 on the new leaderboard, people will respect you. I think.
Okay.
The current one, if you're top 10, people don't really care at all.
I mean, look at like Europe, like top. There's 13 people that are top 1. That doesn't even make sense. So.
Everyone manipulated leaderboard before, so like yeah, now people might actually consider it like a real thing. Then again, I don't know. Like I said, I've seen a lot of these rank systems. The longer the game goes, the less people care. Like it's just the nature of it, right? Like it's hard to keep people invested if there's no like incentive, like financially or like even like a rewards incentive.
Yeah.
Like I think Overwatch tried. They gave the golden skins. Everyone got all the golden skins. They're like, all right, bet, time to start trolling.
They just stopped doing stuff. Yeah.
If now there's like a buddy or something you get, people stop caring after like the first like. It's funny because in that game, someone got a contract for being rank 1. Like someone that was like considered not that great, but like got rank 1, got a contract. So I don't know if that's ever gonna be replicated.
You know what could happen though, for early turns in Deadlock? I just say this from a TO perspective of where things sometimes can get very overwhelming in terms of the amount of signups, is that when Deadlock someday gets a very big investment tournament where you're going to have to do open qualifiers of some extent. Like there's no way of getting around it. I mean, open qualifiers are good for the game. Now, is there a
Yeah.
world where even if it's unofficially, like, again, this is purely just throwing on hypotheticals, definitely not based on anything, etc. But like, let's say down the road you have an EFG or a Blast and they decide, hey, we're going to host a tournament for Deadlock and we need to do qualifiers to decide who's going to be in our season 1. Do you want an Eternus rank requirement on at least a portion of the team? And the answer I feel like is probably yes. Like, and the reason is just to filter out the signups because you don't want to necessarily run like an open, like, it's just a lot of like manpower. If it's like, okay, you do an open qualifier tournament here and you get like, 2,000 teams and the vast majority of the teams are like, have absolutely no hope of qualifying for the tournament. Because like, there's two different things, right? Open tournaments that like appeal to everyone, let everyone sign up are really cool community events. But if your goal is to like run a league and get the very best of the best and you're like specifically targeting that, like some of these other orgs might, you might just be like, okay, can we like call the herd a little bit?
Yeah.
And that's worth something like maybe looking at something like, in-game rank could be a thing.
When we competed in Overwatch, the contender system, and I think it was called Open Division at the time, they allowed anyone to queue. Like there's no rank requirement. You just if you were 6 people or whatever, you could queue.
Well, was there rank back then? I don't recall.
I mean, yeah, there's ranked. I mean,
Yeah.
this was like just before Overwatch 2, so it was like contenders was still
right. You
OWL
played,
and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about
I did
season
play.
0, like the first.
No.
Contenders.
That was a.
Because I
that was
played
a
then, and I'm pretty
interesting
sure there
event.
wasn't.
Yeah, nah. So in this, there was some problems with having a fully open system for like an official event, and one of the most annoying one was that there was literally zero enforcement for alt accounts or Smurfs of any kind, and there were malicious actors that were just account sellers. Basically, they'd abuse accounts and sell them, and they would be on brand new accounts, bronze MMR, and they would completely like just wreck the bracket. And it's like you're saying, the manpower thing where they refuse to like admin it. So these teams weren't getting DQ'd and they're knocking out like seed 1, and it's like, why are we even seeding the bracket then if you're just gonna let anyone queue and not like make them have like a minimum game requirement? Even I always thought that was messed up. So
yeah,
I mean,
for me, I would say like hell yeah, add an Eternus minimum at least.
Okay, I can tell you as someone that had like experience and like knew a lot of the inner workings of especially the OW tier 2, tier 3 systems. They had absolutely no manpower for it, and sometimes like it led to a situation where like ideas that were good in theory were just like incredibly bad in practice. Like in general, like putting the OW specific stuff aside, I think that's one of those things where it feels good for people to advocate for, but in reality, especially if you have any rewards for it whatsoever, and even when you don't, trying to do competitions in video games that are like skill bracketed of like, we want to host a tournament, but it's only for diamond players, or we want to host a tournament, it's only for gold players. Wonderful idea in theory. In practice, like nearly impossible to execute without like serious shit going down and like unbelievable amounts of work to try and like verify, cross-check, and do everything else. Like, I kind of feel like, anytime people try and go down that path is just fraught with like enormous difficulty that, again, because people are just going to mess with these things. And God forbid you add a prize pool. Like, as soon as like the most cursed thing you can ever do for a public esports tournament is to do like tournaments by like rank skill and then add a prize pool there, because you have this like really messed up thing is like, oh, so the gold division has a $500 prize pool and the diamond division has a $1,000 prize pool, but all I have to do is like beat the gold players to get $500, whereas I don't think I could beat the people in diamond. Like, yeah, you give people this inherent incentive to just find every way possible to try to smurf in the lower ranks. It's like, it's why you cannot do prize pools for like anything of that level.
If there's money on the line, expect the worst, basically.
Yes.
They have to make it like something that's just linked to your account. It can't not be money when it comes to stuff like that. Like I think that the money stuff should come like from a completely unrelated to the rank system. It just be like, I like the old qualifier system a lot, to be honest, where it's just like you can go in with complete unranked and just play.
No. Any final thoughts on ranked before we move on to talking about actual competitive stuff this week? And of course, since we have Crayon on, we're gonna delve a little bit in the Crayon's experience on Pulsar this week and all the rest. But Lightbringer Crayon, final words on ranked, if any.
No, I think it's a good change for the game. I think adding a full casual queue is going to make more people play.
I think it's gonna be good for the long term. I'm gonna be really excited to see the meta stuff though. I'm really curious if people are going to like just cheese it and do the stuff I was saying, where like you just pick some character and then switch to like whatever you want to play. I want to see like the mind games of that. I think it'd be super funny.
Yeah, I think for some characters you just kind of like, okay, my final, just to elaborate on that, is that some characters I don't think it matters that much. Like you queue into something like Geist, like whatever, it's Geist, like you're just gonna exist. I don't think you're gonna get a lot of like trickery on that, but it, particularly Dynamo, like Dynamo mains are, they're gonna be like Mr. Incognito. Like smart Dynamo mains are never going to queue in initially on Dynamo. You always swap to Dynamo
Oh,
because of the
you can
Sinclair
also change
factor.
your name too. So like that also is another thing too. Like a lot of people aren't if they really want to metagame it, once you're an Eternus, you could just change your name every game and no one will ever know.
Yeah, true.
Which, by the way, like this is kind of an interesting thing long term, where it's like, you know, whether it's part of the all roads lead the draft discussion or the idea of like, okay, maybe we should just like change Sinclair's ultimate, because like there are like softer counter picks in the game of like, oh, you're playing this hero, so maybe I should play that. But like the Sinclair Dynamo dynamic has to be like, unless someone else can point to it, I feel like that is probably the hardest counter pick in the entire game, unless I'm forgetting something.
I mean, it can be. It depends
yeah.
on the skill of Sinclair. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like as cut and dry as people think it is, where it's just like, oh, steal Black Hole will instantly win the game. It's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't end up playing out like that. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. But yeah, it is a hard counter, and you really have to consider what you're doing on Dynamo against the character for sure.
Also, it's a thing that people flame you for, where it's just like people genuinely get upset in pubs where you're Dynamo and you're just like spending, or you have Dynamo on your team and you're spending like half the game in a Sinclair Dynamo. It's like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
right,
But
so,
yeah, those are my main thoughts about it. Anyway, we can get to the next part.
Yep, we are gonna move on, and of course, the next part is going to be hero priority this week. So I'm fixing the scene, and there we go. So yeah, hero priority. Here's the interesting thing. I was talking about Crayon Lightbright before we got here, but while yes, it maybe some is like people adapting to the patch, is that for any complaints people may have had balance wise this week, this is actually pretty darn healthy, is it not?
Yeah, I think even some of the unpicked characters are actually playable as well. So I mean, I don't even think this is like actually respective of like the total balance of the game. It's just like what teams had time to practice, because I think there was a patch on Tuesday, right? So it was like literally one day. So we're not fully exploring the changes in the meta to match up with picks and bans.
Mm-hmm. I felt like for the meta beforehand, since I played at the 2 scrims or 2 weeks of scrims on the last patch, and I did feel like my options are very limited because I was supposed to be like frontline basically, right? I can play a lot of characters, but the frontline role was basically just in NA. It was Silver, or it's Billy, then Silver, and then Abrams, and then that was it. And then you can play other stuff you want, but like if you want to be like a tank, those are the only options you had left. It felt really frustrating. It like limited in a way.
It kind of sucks as well, because you have like the Billy Doorman dynamic, where if the enemy team gets Doorman, Billy feels like a lot worse to pick because a lot of his kit is just turned off by Hotel Guest. And I mean, Abrams always kind of feels just like I don't feel like you ever feel like super strong on Abrams unless somehow the enemy just hardcore feeds into you. Like you're always like pretty abusable. So
yeah, he's kind of weird because like I think he's one of those characters that are super strong when you're ahead. And if you're behind, he still has like the gimmick factor of like, it's kind of like how Diamond Black Hole works, right? You get Diamond Black Hole, you can turn the game. You get one Abrams pin into the right spot or Abrams ult, you can win the game. That's how I feel about him. He's super like, he just feels bad though in the in between time, right? Like he's not, if it's not a big moment, then he just feels bad basically.
So one thing I kind of, well, to get to it when we get to the tier list a little bit later, but and we even had a question directed to you on it, Lightbringer, but Mo and Krill in EU. The funniest part here is that people maybe look at this like, oh my god, the item changes. This wasn't really because of the item changes. The Mo and Krill getting picked in. In fact, like Mo, I feel like has been hanging the shadows of like, okay, maybe this hero is like good against certain things, but where was your take on Mo, including like why you guys banned him?
Okay, so I mean, Mo, like I said, we had no practice, right? So the patch was on Tuesday. Like, I mean, we had maximum one scrim. I can't remember if we scrimmed or not, but you go on like information you have, right? And we noticed that one of the players was playing Mo a lot because of the buff. The buff does change how he's played in comp because he has way better like farming capabilities of the tunnels. So he's just printing money.
Okay.
It
I like
helps
to
him
call
farming
him-
in general. So
I like to call him Fat Calico because you can use him as like a economic booster, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also is a really
Yeah.
good roamer too.
I think it's important to
And
clarify.
he's
So it's coming
always been
from
like a
that
lane
end.
winner as well.
It's coming from that end,
Yeah.
though. It's not coming from the, people's like, oh my god, the items, look at the Majestic Leap Mo. It's like, it makes for funny clips, but it's obviously like, no one was
Yeah.
doing that.
I think the
Yeah,
best
I don't
interaction
think
is
anyone
even
actually
works on
cares
all, I
about
guess.
the yeah. Well, it's like you'd have to also combo them before that, right? So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's like
that's
it's like a nice side effect. I think what it did is it like helped him do like his combo a bit better. Like you don't have to alt fire before you ult. You can just do it in the ult. There's
Mhm.
it's like a small like it's quality of life buff. Really, I don't think it's significant in the competitive sense. But yeah, the burrow change was significantly more important. And he was always a lane winner. Like he was never a bad character. Like he does really well in lane. He's a really strong character.
Mhm.
So yeah, we expected them to pick it, so we banned it.
Okay, other
Mhm.
outlier here, and this was all on NA, and this is where Lightbright, if you want to chime in and be like, ha, NA, etc. We got the 3 McGinnis games, and it was kind of interesting how McGinnis broke down in NA. I mean, the first game was clearly just use McGinnis to early game snowball, take down early Guardians, go from there. One game, like the NA draft, it was the very first game of the finals where it just looked absolutely miserable because it was basically a McGinnis got picked into the early game for something, you're trying to go with that game plan, but the other team had all the good laners, so McGinnis just spent the entire game just getting murdered. And then the third game, the other game that we saw her picked in was also like really interesting. It was like game 2 of NA, where truthfully, I feel like that was a game that Melee Creeps probably should have lost with how the early game went, but you had the mid-boss call that kind of shifted the entire game and, brought things back in. But overall, we'll start with Crayon first this time around, but McGinnis, what do you think this week, Crayon?
Honestly, yeah, I think the McGinnis is super strong. I like the strategy with it because, again, right now we're in the lane meta, right? If you can win lane, you can just build a lead off of that, and your job is much easier. It's hard to play from behind, but there is ways to play from behind, but it's super hard, and you have to be like a much more experienced team, right? I think McGinnis is like a simple game plan. It's just you win your lane, then you can go to the next lane and break it down. And then past that, right, the game plan McGinnis is you hold the area down, right? One of the most important things in this game is map control, and McGinnis can just keep mid-prio the whole game. If you can keep the midway push the whole game, it lets you just do whatever you want on the map without really getting punished. That's what Bailey's main strategy was that they would have McGinnis hold the mid wave, and then they could rotate to any fight if need be.
Lightbright,
Which is like pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I that's definitely what they wanted to do, right? They wanted to have like their guardian up and leave the McGinnis there and just have him just babysit the lane and call it a day. I think we saw a mixed performance on McGinnis for a few different reasons. Obviously the challenger match was kind of like it's just a newer team, right? Like you guys don't have that much experience. You're scrimming a lot, but like you're just a newer team, so it's gonna take a while to like get used to it. In the first draft between Popper's team and MLC, they overprioritized McGinnis, and whenever you pick a character super early in the draft, like you're basically charging yourself a better character. Like, are they actually gonna ban McGinnis? That's what you have to ask yourself. They picked him in third and gave Pocket up for it, and I think that's just absurd. That's actually unreal. I get if they don't have any Pocket players, but I mean, if you don't have any Pocket players, learn Pocket, please. That will help you a lot in draft. The other thing is, I think in the first game of the best of 3, they were really set on having pairings. They had Ozus in that lane, and I think that they just built wrong, and because they never got like any lane prio, they just got bullied under the tower. They just couldn't do anything with McGinnis, and they just got fried.
So I'll save some of this when we talk a little bit about the NA games in specific, but in terms of hero trends here, I think I called it out when we were mid-broadcast, but the one thing that I think I never even checked in with him, but I feel like Cosmetical was just shaking on the ground, like foaming at the mouth in all likelihood, looking at the NA draft where like Infernus was either not picked at times or, exiled to the very back of the draft. Like, actually, I'll leave this over to both of you. Like, Lightbright will probably like crap on NA a bit. Crayon, maybe you can give some insight, but what happened to NA valuing Infernus this week? Because to me, I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I don't know. They just don't like it, but
I think it's a gold allocation problem. A lot of players, like once you pick like for example, for our team, right? We picked Geist and Mirage a lot of games, right? And so like it's kind of awkward because Infernus is a good hero, but at that point you can't pick Infernus for a lot of people. I think Infernus is a good third pick though. It's just that teams, generally speaking, the M1 is the guy that plays Infernus, and like if they're not playing the Infernus, then no one else will, kind of thing, right?
See, I kind of disagree with that idea.
Problem.
Actually, speaking to both Infernus and Mirage, I think that people are approaching both of these characters wrong. Like Infernus, I see him as like an early game bruiser, And Mirage, I see him kind of more like a drain tank than I do a carry. And people keep trying to put these characters in M1 roles, and they just don't use money well. They actually don't. Like Infernus falls off. Mirage's scalings are horrible pretty much across the board. I mean, I get that he gets kind of unkillable late game, but like his actual individual power isn't that high. Like you're not comparing his damage output ever to Venator or something, right?
Yes, exactly. But that's just
And
how the
I feel
playstyle
like it's
shook out in NA. I feel like.
I feel like it's a difference to how like our team, not even like EU, just our team approaches.
Yeah, players in
characters
EU
like
played the
Mirage
gun
and
and
Infernus.
gun Mirage as well in
Yeah,
EU.
They do play that, but our team, I think if you'll remember, one of our comps was we had a Mirage and we had a Lash and a Mina in that comp too. And I feel like if any other team were to draft there, they would pick Mirage plus Mina or Mirage plus what was the other character I just said? I can't remember. Whatever the other character. They would never pick
Mirage Lash Mina.
Yeah, they would never pick the third character. They would just pick like 2 and then do like 4 tempo characters and just call it a day. Whereas we're playing Mirage or Infernus as a tempo hero.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but so NA's trying to put too much money into a character that can't use it well. I would say that's the problem with how they're approaching the hero.
All right, so before we get off hero priority and dive a little bit deeper into Pulsar, Crayon playing comp this week, and futures for Crayon, as Crayon is our guest, any other things people want to note here on hero priority that you feel particularly passionate about here, whether it be Torman being banned 6 times or whichever.
For me, nothing in specific. I think some of the small balance patch changes are going to influence this for next week 100%, and we'll see that reflected in the 50th hero priority list, but probably not this week.
Crayon,
Okay.
you got anything?
For hero priority, I think that right now, I'm not gonna lie, my early prediction is that I think that in NA we're gonna see a lot less Mirage. I think Mirage is like, as Lightbringer said, is like more of a tempo hero, and so a lot of teams don't really want to play him as like that way. Like a lot of people are just stuck in their old ways of just playing carry. So I think you might see like a drop in prio for that hero. Because like right now it feels like Geist is the wave. Like everyone wants to play Geist or Ven, to be honest.
Also,
I think we're gonna find that Geist is gonna drop down too.
Oh yeah, Geist. She got a lot of like she got like a bunch of small nerfs, but they all added up. Like the nerfs her directly for the 2, and the Locket buff is like a huge problem for her.
Yeah. I think she'll fall down. Pick prio for sure.
Well, yeah, because whenever Locket is viable, Locket just, hey, does your character spam spells? Well, congratulations. Everyone's buying an item that makes you worse, which is actually another topic we're going to get into in a little bit. But one thing that actually, I have one quick thing that kind of occurs to me, because I feel like from the eye test, it's actually been like absurdly effective. And yeah, some of it may just be the players, like, from an A, it's like Goober looks good on the hero, but I feel like we're in this like rising Bebop stocks at the moment, where Bebop has been going up and up in prio as time has been going on, and like honestly looking really good across like both regions when played. Like, does Bebop sneak into an even higher tier next week?
I don't know about that for EU. I feel like EU, it's like a consolation pick. Like we need to pick characters, so let's pick Bebop. I think in NA you guys have more like specialists, and you're much more keen to pick the character to do stuff with. But EU, I feel like the character is a lot more punishable in lane. The people will, like, it'll be picked obviously, but I don't think we'll ever see it before the first 3 picks. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
That's funny you said that, DP. You had a good read on it. I was watching Average stream this morning, and he was talking to Goober, and he was saying that, yeah, we messed up. We were gonna first ban Bebop game 3. So it seems like it's gonna be a specialist problem. Like you're playing against like these Bebop players like Goober who are like hitting like insane hooks. You can't let them play that. So like we might see like weird drafts like that. Also felt like the teams in NA are more like focused on not like the heroes, they're focused on the players in a way. Because again, NA is a very like weak region compared to EU when it comes to heroes, right? So a lot of teams like to try and like target players and see if they can like pick something. Like we saw in I think it was game 3, they picked like I think they banned Mina, right? Against melee creeps, right? And then eventually they tried to take Mirage, and they bled out basically all of OC's pool.
Yeah, it was a direct assault on the OCs. It was like, OCs, we hate you, the draft. Like, yeah.
And I forgot what OC's played, but he ended up playing pretty well. So like it did feel like it wasn't like they didn't pick it for a meta reason. They just picked it for like
I'll be honest, with the exception overall, I think with the exception of like Boostio's hero pool getting targeted because it was like an obvious thing to do like recently, I feel like a lot of the examples of like going after people's hero pools and Deadlock, like when you see it in draft, I feel like the success rate for most players is actually like pretty low to have that be good. Like we've seen so many times where like even a player like John, right? Like in theory, like people's like, just ban John's heroes. And then we had night shifts where like John's like, oh, I'll just go Wraith. And it's like, wait, John's Wraith pounded. Like I do wonder if NA sometimes overvalues we're going to target this guy's hero pool at times.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm coaching a team, I'm going to say like, you guys need to, in draft, you need to play your own game. You need to focus on what makes your comp stronger more than like denying them power. At some point, you can do that in draft, of course, if it's not going to harm what you're doing. But a lot of times you see like really skewed drafts, and you're just kind of like, why did you do that? And it's literally just because they, wanted to deny them something instead of picking what was good for them.
All right, so we're going to change gears here. Next topic, of course, this was Pulsar's debut in NA, Crayon and Comp, and again, led to some fun jokes like, guys, we got Crayon and Comp, and like Ido's the watch party guy. Like, look at the role change that's going on here. I guess Crayon, a few things. One, how did Pulsar, come together? Two, are you going to actually be continuing on with Pulsar? Obviously some words here and there about that. Obviously, I've heard some things that you were mentioning before, but people just hearing the podcast like, wait, what's the future of Crayon here? And I guess do you know much about like, can you speak much to like what Pulsar is planning? How serious they are? Whatever you got.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. Pulsar is pretty serious about being into Deadlock. They've had the Korea branch, and now they're trying to go into NA. I think their core roster. I'm not gonna be on it. I want to be like a sub, to be honest, because I felt like I don't want to like dedicate too much time to the comp scene. I don't think currently for me, it's not like something I'm passionate about, right? I'm more passionate about just streaming and like like talking about the game. I don't really enjoy like the grind. Like a lot of the most fun part about playing competitive is like playing in the tournaments, like night shift and stuff like that. But like doing the stuff in between, like the hard work of like, okay, you need to do VODs. You need to do scrims. At least, like, if you want to actually be a good team, you should do, like, at least 4 hours scrims every day. You need to do VOD review every day and, like, actually read about what you're doing. And you have to pick up and learn these heroes. And you have to, like, fit into your role. It's, like, something that is not, like, super exciting to me. It almost feels like a job. I mean, but it is a job for, like...
It is a job, yeah.
It's not a job in terms of, like... Obviously, the monetary incentive is not 100% there yet, like other esports. But it is, like, basically a job. And, like... I told myself a long time ago when it comes to Deadlock is that I want to keep doing it as long as it doesn't feel like a job. The day it starts feeling like a job is when I don't want to do it. Well, so that's how I feel about it.
Okay, I'll tell you this. Thinking back to my time, way back when streaming Heroes of the Storm, even if you love a game like massively, you will hit a point where it's like streaming will always feel like a job because it is a job. There's because. I think what a lot of people don't get, especially for people that have done streaming a long time, is that even if you're having fun doing games and everything else, there's like I have never met anyone that does streaming where they are 100% identical playing games like off stream as they are on stream, or unless they're like a really bad streamer. Like, okay, for the streamers that go on that just sit and grunt into the microphone here and there and like look at chat once every 3 minutes, okay, that actually may be equivalent. But for people that are really good at streaming and get followings, like generally speaking, there's like this extra level of strain for doing it. So I think even if you love the game, like just the pure aspect of streaming changing things, like there will always be this element of like it is a job.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm so surprised when people are so good at like actually playing the game and streaming at the same time. I think Crayon's actually one of those people where you just actually like interacting with the chat all the time. If I were to play the game and stream at the same time, it would be like I like to read the chat when I'm streaming. Like Zergy as well. He's like insanely good at reading chat and playing the game and doing a bunch of crazy stuff at the same time. And I just think that's like an insane talent. And it definitely has to be more strenuous on the people that are streaming for sure.
So, but I was gonna say specifically about talking about the team. I really enjoyed the players there. I think Scout and Hydration are really good players. Hydration for a long time has actually been one of my favorite players. He's been the type of guy that like will find like the off meta strategy or like talk about like the game like in depth, and like people don't know how dedicated Hydration is to the game. He doesn't play MN as much because he doesn't enjoy it personally. But I remember like I don't know if you ever seen the post Lightbringer, but I think Hydration sat down when Arcane Surge came out and did a full bug report list on every single interaction of Arcane Surge and found out that about 200 plus abilities in the game did not work with Arcane Surge. And that's what led to Arcane Surge finally getting fixed.
Yeah.
But he found every interaction and listed every single one down.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like...
And it's kind of like the same stuff I do too. He went really specific for one item, but yeah, he's definitely dedicated to the game.
Yeah,
It's kind of sad he doesn't grind MM anymore because I mean it was nice to see him in MM as well.
he does
Maybe
not.
maybe he'll
He
play with
doesn't like
ranked.
it. Like I'll blame him because he's like, I don't know. He would rather just like chill and like watch the game and like learn from that. Because I don't think he's mechanically fallen off at all. A lot of people think like, oh, if you take a break, you're gonna become bad. But there's some people like the exception. Like I think Hydration is one of the exceptions where like even if he's not playing the game, he's still like tapped in.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Hydration is also one of those players that has like a really deep competitive history on top of being naturally talented, right? Like, so long as Hydration doesn't just outright stop playing the game for months, I think, you know, in the current state of Deadlock, Hydration definitely is going to have opportunities. Where, by the way, like, this is, you know, a quick segue, but what I don't think what people realize is that when the game hits a deeper state of development and, you know, things like the esports scene gets more developed with bigger tournaments, you're going to hit a point where if a bunch of orgs decide they need to get in the Deadlock, they are not going to be able to like pick up the current, like there's not enough current comp players to actually fill out all those teams. So you're going to be seeing a lot of players where it's just like, I had a reputation in another game. I mean, truthfully, you know, just the concept of it here. I'm not like going to specifics, but something like Boostio is like a good example, right? A Boostio could easily go to a team and a team's like, shit, we have no players. We need to build around something and be like, I was a previous competitive player. I will captain your new team, you know, to whatever esports work. There's going to be a lot
really
of that.
funny story actually in Valorant. A similar thing happened. I don't know if I think Vegas talked about it. So Vegas used to play Valorant competitively, right?
Yeah.
And he was going to play on 100 Thieves, right? The lore is that basically Hiko came to his team and took it over, and then he became like the leader of 100 Thieves when like Vegas and his other PUBG guys are the ones that like formed the team in the first place. They were
That's
treating
messed
Hiko
up.
like he was God because he's like an old TS pro for NA. Hiko basically wasn't a bad Valorant player, but like it's really funny that you can see that like really often with a lot of these new big games where people will just like they'll just go to whoever has the biggest brand first, and then they'll look
Yeah,
at
you have
like
just name
okay,
power, right?
and then they'll look
Yeah.
at oh okay, this guy actually has like good rank talent.
Also, it's kind of interesting too, though, because part of it is going to be a matter of leverage. Where, like, look, I'm not going to put any orgs on blast here per se, but there are some legacy orgs that, you know, over many years have gotten a very like poor reputation for just lowballing and giving like shit offers with like really unfavorable contract terms, and a few of them have actually poked around in Deadlock. But the thing,
Yeah.
but here's the thing: everyone has also been warned by both veterans of the scene and you know people will ask information, be like, hey, you know, what's the deal with this? And they'll be like, under no circumstances, if you were good at this game, should you ever sign up that org. But those orgs are still gonna be desperate. They're still gonna need to put Deadlock on their portfolio and they'll be like, shit, who do we get? Like, you're gonna see, you know, again, without naming, I almost said something, but you're gonna see a few like very old school teams go in the Deadlock with like the most like who the hell on this team, and they're just gonna get waxed in open qualifiers like when the game comes out.
Yeah.
It is going to be
Yeah.
like a very funny first like 3 months of Deadlock competition when stuff like really starts kicking in the high gear, because yeah.
What,
I'll-
and I don't think he was going to say the words, but yeah, there's definitely been some offers I've seen around that were, I don't know, predatory to say the least. I guess I think if you're having your time asked for like a year, you should probably just say no right now until the game's
Yep.
more in an open state.
My general advice to any you know, on the off chance we had some pros listening here, my general advice is that I would not sign anything over 6 months, and even then, you know, you want the terms of relationship to be like pretty much open to renegotiation and both teams being honest with each other. If any team comes to you is like, hey, we want to sign you for a year, or God forbid, in, you know, a few cases like 2 years, and they try and lead you a line of bullshit about, oh, we just really want to invest in you and develop you as a player, run. They are secretly looking at you and being like, you are a lottery ticket that we will sell the Falcons for a crap load of money because our business model is otherwise bad. Just
Yep.
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
And you don't get to see a portion of that money really.
No, not unless you, I mean, you could negotiate it, but most of them be like,
Yeah.
no, we can't do that.
I mean, someone wanting to accept an offer like that is probably going to be on their first contract ever. Basically, if you get offered a contract, ask a close friend who might have been, you know, a previous competitor somewhere, and they'll probably, you know, warn you or, you know, advise you any other way, basically.
All right, so we got a few more topics to go through, and we'll kind of speed through it because, you know, some of these things we may have spent a little bit more time on, but we got the patch, and, you know, the patch required a lot of talk. But in terms of other big things this week, just adding the topic here, Rusto Locket up. Rusto Locket literally went from 0 buys in the last night shift to nearly 5 buys per game this week. And clearly it was directly as a result of the buff. I guess I'll say here, like, let's first talk about Wrestlelock at its current form, and then the broader question of, can this item be balanced where you don't have everyone buying it, but you still have some people buying it?
Okay, so I think the amount of Resto Lockets is due to the current meta and why I mentioned Geist in particular. Same thing with like a character like Apollo, right? There's some characters that are just weak into Resto Locket, and if they're meta, naturally it makes sense for Restorative Locket to be bought more, right? And it's a better item now, it's more usable, but there's some characters it really sucks against, and you just don't want to buy it. If there's a team that has like Geist, Apollo, Mirage, those characters spam abilities all the time, you probably want to pick up Resto Locket. That's probably why we saw quite a lot, a huge number of them in this night shift.
Crayon, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Wrestle Locket is a trend for the heroes that are available right now. It's just a spam meta, but I don't know if that's naturally gonna. I think that's just always gonna be the case though. In a game where there's no resources besides cooldowns, the best play is to just cast your ability, right? There's no other play really. Like in other games, you can be more savvy about it because like, oh, I have to worry about like a pool of mana or something like that, right? In this game,
Yeah.
you just throw the resource, you just throw your cooldown out no matter what, as long as it's not ult. So I think we'll always have a Resto Locket meta. I think the main thing is I want them to test out is removing the heal or reducing it significantly. I think that like the heal is what makes it really messed up because like it punishes people that it's punishing for like missing and hitting, right? Like let's say that you are playing Geist, right? Her Geist mount does 50 damage. A stack of Locket is off the top of my head, I remember is 17 at
Well,
level 1, right?
It depends on what level you're at. Like,
But at the average level, it'd be like 25, let's say. So like
Yeah, 25 is a good number.
you do like you basically negate half of her malice, which is like, and if she's missing it, you're basically getting like an insane trade. Like it's too much of a positive trade. My prior issues with Locket are still the same, where it's like the range of which you can Locket someone is like absurd, right? You should not be allowed to pick it up from like, I would say like lane to lane, maybe.
also,
It's a really large range.
one thing I
The
want
way
to
I
note
look at
on
it is I just think it shouldn't gate charges on cooldown. That's just my only thing about it, I think.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fair tuning. Also, I think the one thing about Resto Locket and maybe why it should never it's arguably healthier to be more on the stam end than the health end, let alone like both, is that I think one thing people underrate balance wise is that it's not just about like, oh, you get an extra 850 HP or whatever it is at max right now. It's the part that it really messes, like heals inherently mess with decision making. Like so much of anything with like MOBA DNA. You look at someone, you go, I have these abilities. This person is at this level of resources. I therefore know that I can engage and, take this person out. When you have items like Locket, your decision making, like, and your certainty of like, can I do this and win, like, gets heavily messed with. Like, it's one of the best aspects of that item is that, like, by having that item, you are more likely to bait someone into a bad decision where they think they can kill you, they can't, and they end up going down. Or the other end of the spectrum is that people basically internally calculate to where they have to be like ultra super sure before they go in on you if you have Locket. So Locket creates a lot of these situations. I mean, you saw it in Night Shift, right? Like it was in EU where like Hoot had some absurd escape with Locket and a bunch of resources were put into trying to kill Hoot, and it would have been a very different fight if Hoot had died. But Hoot Lockets and gets away with like 20 HP or something absurd, and all these resources were spent trying to kill him because to the from Abraham's point of view, it's like, oh, this guy's dead. But Locket, because it has that extra part of like just messing with your decision making on when it's good to use resources and invest like for a kill, like Hoot is able to get out. And yes, the heal got him out, but I think what people don't always realize with items like Locket is that the deception element and what it does to the decision-making process is arguably its most important part, even beyond all the other aspects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I can see that. I mean, in a game like Dota, you have Magic Stick or Wand or whatever, and like you can click on the guy and see how many charges he has, and that can definitely influence how you're going to take the engagement. I still kind of like Locket being strong because I think it actually just makes draft more variable. Like you can't just stack a bunch of characters that spam stuff without turbo healing the enemy team. And I think it also increases item diversity to some extent, where you're buying more decays, you're buying more toxic bullets and stuff like that to actually confirm kills, which I think is good for the game as well.
Let's see. Looking through, you don't miss topic stuff here. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for that. I think the other topic, Lightbringer, you wanted to talk about here is Mirage, where like a lot of people are, basically confused. Like, why do you pick Mirage? I know we touched lightly on it, but
Yeah, I don't like that people are seeing him as an M1 carry when like he's got objectively one of the worst guns in the game. I mean, yeah, he can headshot you easier. He's got bigger bullets and stuff like that, but kind of the only thing he really has going for him is decent health scaling and all of the, defensive mechanics. Like he's meant to be a drain fighter. Like he does.
Right.
He's a spirit character as well. He's also a spirit character.
Yeah,
But
his arc
contrary
is
to what
spirit.
everyone else is building, he is not a gun character. He does spirit damage. And it's just it's crazy that I just see people just max out his gun stat and have almost no purple. So I'd prefer if people would just start building him like a tempo spirit kind of like bruiser. I guess I think that would be a little more interesting to see than watching a Mirage just kind of do nothing in late game, or just pray the enemy runs into it and makes a lot of mistakes. I really don't see this character in a carry capacity at all. I don't know how Crayon feels about it, but that's just my take.
I completely agree with you. I think the carry build is like for fun. I like doing it only because it's like fun to see Ricochet and people get a bunch of marks. But I do think that the better way to play him is just like you just tornado people and you're just annoying.
Yeah, like you're just making space, like you're living forever, and you're actually impossible. You have to curse the guy to kill him, pretty much.
Yeah. Which fits his role, like actually in the lore, funny enough. Like he's still like a bodyguard, so like that role makes more sense for like he protects your carries and stuff like that, and he himself is like a big threat in the back if you let him stay there.
Actually, that's kind of a funny thing that I wonder if is going to percolate a little bit more into comp because like one day wasn't enough. Is that when I look at the Cursed Relic change, I feel like that massively increases the viability of Cursed Relic, and like in theory could even lead us to a point where like people are buying way more per team. The change for those that weren't looking at the patch notes is that basically it went from a perma like 14% damage buff to a 25 damage nerf to all damage, but only while the curse is active. So
yeah,
it hurts.
It's a good change.
Yeah. To me, I feel like it makes AM way more viable. It like hurts it more for the idea of like, I'm just going to like self combo you. But for anyone that's in more of a support end, or you're just trying to lock people down, you're not like permanently hurting yourself for everything else you do in the game just because you can curse someone for 3 seconds. Like, I don't know. To me, I feel like this is setting up the stage that in theory, Cursed Relic should be getting bought more.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will be as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's also just like a lot of the things that are meta in the game right now that people love using are like really good against, are really bad against Cursed Relic. One of the most bought items in the game is Scourge right now, and you can just curse Scourge is removed completely. Vamp Burst on the gun carries, Fury Trans, these items like all these like active items that let you get like the crazy pop. You just pop the curse on them and they just get disabled. Even Spellslinger, like Ven and guys both knew Spellslinger. Like if you disable a Spellslinger early, you could like completely turn off a character.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna take him a long time to ramp up. It's really effective in fights for sure. Even if you don't kill him, like honestly, you're saving your team from dying. It's I don't know, that item will definitely be bought more.
All right, so we're gonna.
I'm predicting, my early prediction, it might be bold, is that like we're gonna go back to the 6 curse meta. When curse first got added, I remember like, or they added the capacitor aspect to it. Like we had like basically 4+ curses in the game. I think we're gonna go back to that, to be honest, once the meta shakes up.
All right, so we're gonna speed through some of the things here. A lot of the talk this week was less EU, unless you had specific things you wanted to bring about, the EU matches where Hoot got back into play, Lightbringer. But we still have tier list and Q&A to get through, so
I don't think anything really happened too much with the EU. I think EU is pretty straightforward this go around with Hoot back.
So I've brought NA back into focus here, where we touched again a little bit earlier, but this draft from Melee Creeps at the beginning here, where it's McGinnis comp, but like you look at all the mid-game like lane power that you've given up to the other team, and is it any surprise that like especially the McGinnis focus strategy, like I felt bad for Birdie in this game. Like this was bad.
Yeah, I mean I mentioned it earlier in the stream about how they I think they have set pairings for players. I think that they had I think it's Birdie Oz's, right? And in the very beginning of this lane, he's against an aggressive laner. It was a Yamato, I want to say it was an Ivy lane. So they had like really good push, and the Yamato's just shooting them the whole time. And Geist has really low base regen and bought Mystic Burst level 1. I guess they're relying on the McGinnis to heal. And right off the bat, like their very first interaction, I think Ozus got down to like 300 HP, and I don't think it ever went up. I think that he was legit 1 HP the entire lane, and because of that, both the Geist and the McGinnis didn't really get to play at all.
They lost the lane. Like, I think they were actually first to lose lane there. It's just like, okay, well,
yeah.
if you're the goal here was to do what we saw in the like best of one and snowball the McGinnis, well, step one is don't lose your own lane, because how the hell are you going to go to like other lanes to like try and get that going elsewhere? And then also, I mean, you look at it, not only was FP or Popper's Pupils like with a bunch of good laners, but also Holiday in particular. I mean, maybe it's just kind of the Xeno versus Goober element, but Xeno also was just doing horrific things on Holiday to where like
Yeah.
nothing was getting started. Also, I don't know, this was a little bit controversial, and I realize Saya's like learning new things, but am I crazy to look at Saya and think for his play style overall, like, again, I'm willing to see it, but like, I don't look at Saya and think like this guy's about to come in and just like super pop off on Shiv in a comp setting for like what Saya's good at. Like Saya popping off on Abrams makes perfect sense, and Billy for like how he generally plays, but like the Saya Shiv I kind of looked at and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
I mean, I don't have a really strong take on Saya. Like I miss a lot of the NA games, so maybe Crayon has a better perspective there. I do think that Shiv out of the frontliners is one of those characters you really got to put a lot of time into to kind of get a good feel on. So
Yeah, I think that he's been practicing Shiv a long time. I remember, I think Ranger told me where like he would be like, "Oh, we need to pick Shiv here," and then when Ranger would ask him, he'd be like, "Oh, we need to pick Shiv because we have a lot of spirit." If you look at the drafts, I'm seeing 5 spirit characters basically, and guys, right? So maybe the logic was like, okay, we need a tank character and we need someone that does spirit shred. So that seems to be like the type of way he likes to draft. I also think that like maybe he wasn't comfortable playing like Silver or anything like that. It seems like Silver has fallen off the map similar to EU. I looked at it recently. I was like, Silver just gets kited a lot of times now. Like if you look at these drafts, like it's so hard for Silver to like do anything. So Shiv is kind of like a nice alternative to Silver if you want some damage, but like some tankiness too.
yeah,
But like he can get in and still like operate. Silver just gets like he can't do anything once he pops dog and they run away.
I don't know. I was really surprised with how they did the draft in this one. I'll be honest. Like overprioring McGinnis in 3 cost them a Bebop pick for Goober. They didn't ban Bebop, and he had to play Drifter this game, and I feel like Drifter has like kind of a rough time in this kind of draft as well. So
That
I
actually
think they just messed up in draft.
that kind of surprised me too. Even with them playing McGinnis there early, like, we brought up on broadcast every time the McGinnis got overpicked is that unless they were just like winning every scrim of this Crayon, to me it felt like there was just no reason to be picking McGinnis that early, because with everything else there, like, was Popper's Pupils actually going to sit there and deny the McGinnis? Like, even when the McGinnis won, they didn't go into game 3 with the McGinnis ban. Like, they're just like, no, we don't care.
Yeah, the teams aren't respecting it. I think that's a big problem with these teams that like do like some off meta strategy. They're like, oh my god, they know what we're cooking, so we need to like secure our cook here. You know what I mean? It's like a really common thing when you see like teams like go outside of the box. They like overprotect their secret sauce that like they just forget the core essentials of like how to win the draft, which is like you just need these heroes first, and then you do your cook after, because they're not gonna. The other team's not going to deviate unless they realize, oh my god, wait, the secret OP meta thing they're doing is better than the default, right?
Yeah.
And they also have to practice it too, right? If this is the first time you are doing it against them, then like obviously they're not going to do anything against it, or they're not going to pick it. So and if they waste a ban, then it gets worse for them. So you account for that in your mind too.
Also, shifting now to the second game. Here's the interesting thing when I was looking at this, where, okay, melee creeps win this game, but this was the, and this will be the like kind of last deep dive in strategy before we go on, but this is the game where melee creeps is actually losing this game really hard. Like, they were down like 12, 15k at like 17 minutes, and then they go forward and get the mid-boss call that like Popper's Pupils gets caught off guard on, and they get back into the game. Like, I remember thinking after this game was done that draft-wise, I think Popper's Pupils would have been okay to like run the same draft back again, and they may have just won. Like, I think they fully changing strategy off of basically just, getting surprised by a mid-boss call seemed weird to me, because I feel like if you ran this game 10 times, Popper's Pupils may have won it like 8 times. That was my take.
Yeah, maybe. I think on the cast you guys said it was like a really risky mid boss. I went and rewatched it just to kind of inform myself of where it was exactly, because I was watching at the same time, but I didn't probably put all the pieces in their place. And there was a play that was made just before this mid boss call where I believe Ozus dodged a life swap from League, and that was really, really impactful. So they have their carry dead or whatever. And additionally, I think they used every single ult before they killed him. So you
Well,
have
was
like
that game
melee
3
creeps.
though, or game 2? I have to go back. Like
This is game 2. This is game
Okay,
2.
game 2, okay.
Here, I can actually take a picture here so you can like see the
Yeah.
set the stage. So this is like I'll put it in the channel there. So John and Braden are gonna respawn, and League just died. I believe they were defending a walker. They like hard dove a walker, and they pressed all of their ultimate buttons. So they just make the judgment call because they killed their walker early, and they defended the mid guardian, as Crayon was saying before, with the McGinnis. And because they have their guardian up and the enemy walker's dead, it's so hard for them to maintain the creep prio for the zip line in mid that they can just go ahead and make that call. It's actually super hard for them to contest that, like super hard. And I actually think it's a genius call, but it's 100% just Pauper's team shooting themselves in the foot, trying to do too much when they don't have to, when they're ahead, and they could just slow grind the team down. This is a common thing I notice on NA as well, where they're just hard forcing walkers down, and they just have no reason to.
Well, that
Like, you
happened
can just
later
win
in
the
this game
slowly.
too. Like if you go back to like
Yes,
the
yes.
final fight where Popper's people, they got 2 clean picks in mid. Like they had a really good engage. Like League had like the actual like pitcher perfect Geist swap in there, and they just overchased to the point where after they got 2, they like went for more kills, and they got like walled off and just like absolutely dunked on by Birdie. But like, okay, they underestimated McGinnis for sure, but it's also, why are you like deep diving after getting 2 kills like that? Like there's so much more you can do in that situation where you have control of the game. And it's like, I don't know. It's like their
Yeah.
call to like chase actually cost them the game beyond this mid boss call that we're talking about now.
Like they're too focused on what's going on in the fight rather than the overall macroscopic part of the game, right? Where there's like an objective on the map and say, oh, if we mess up here, like we already have a really clear advantage that we can leverage. It's a common mistake I see on NA anyway, where they're just overzealous on mostly just related to fights, I think.
Crayon, you were a watch party. Did you have any thoughts on that? Like the part where you see Powers, it was like, holy shit, good fight. And then they just, you see them just slowly throw it all away by going too deep.
Is he muted?
Crayon is muted.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of unorthodox things happening here when it comes to the draft. Like, I think the Victor and like the John's build making it like much harder to kill him, or like things they weren't calculating. Like, normally Ven, when you see him, he's a free kill, right? But with the way he built full spirit res, like 70, 80 spirit res. You can't kill him if you're not a gun character. So they would find Ven and then they couldn't kill him. Saya, similar thing. It's Victor, right? People haven't played against Victor in a while. There's that aspect of like, if you don't see a character for a while and it comes out of nowhere, then you don't know what the limit is, right? So McGinnis and Victor are 2 like really common picks where like they were underestimating them and they ended up falling to it.
Actually, there's a few funny things with Saya, both in game 2 and game 3, where the funniest part is like Popper's Peoples was like a lot closer to winning the series than I think people realize, because I mean we call it on cast, but there was a moment in game 2 where Saya basically got away at 20 HP on Victor without his ult getting popped. If his ult gets popped, then the next fight, like maybe the next fight doesn't go down the same way, like maybe they just avoid it, but like what happens in the very next fight, like 30 seconds later, is like animation gets popped and League dies after getting hit by Victor coming back up and doesn't get swap off. But Saya only had that ult up at the time by like a margin of 20 HP. And then in the next game, there was a point where like, yeah, Saya was running the entire lobby as Abrams, but actually got engaged on and got down to, again, like actual dead on Abrams, but the last little bit of HP couldn't get finished off, and then he lockets and gets like the extra regen post affliction and is able to rejoin the fight at 1500 HP.
Yeah, he didn't hear no bell, man. He's going in.
Yeah.
I'm super happy. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, like in the Victor game, I got so annoyed when I saw Saya buy Leech. I thought that was such a throw buy, and like he's just like getting this late. He's just gifted like 6K money, and he's into a pocket. They already have 2 Spirit Burns or something like that, and like he's just like, I'm gonna buy Leech. I'm gonna do the do nothing item, and like every fight you're watching him play, he's just instantly dying. There's no leeching happening. He's just dying, and I wish he just spent his money on literally anything else.
Yeah, me and Lightbringer were watching it and fully complaining about it because I felt like there was at least 3 or 4 or 5, 6 other items you could have bought instead. But at the end of the day, they won, and I was gonna say that I'm happy to see like people or like unorthodox strategies winning. I did feel like Power People, since they had much practice time, were like little bit just not really experimenting. They're just sticking with what they knew. So I felt like that was a big aspect for this. I did like the Americans felt like they were actually like looking to see what's meta other than the basic stuff, and it ended up winning for them. That's one of my
Yeah, it
favorite
was
things when
good.
it comes to MOBAs is like innovation. Like when people innovate, it makes the game like so much more fun. Like
But
it's
Yeah.
way better than like the old drafts where it's just like, all right, you just trade like Mirage, Billy, Doorman, and Pocket over and over, and then the
Yeah,
rest
I
are
mean, it
the
makes you
same
realize
thing.
that the game is like it's an actual sandbox. It's not like a rigid meta game like you think it is. I mean, I know like people like a lot of people come from League of Legends, and the game can feel that way, I believe. But Dota has traditionally always been more of a sandbox game where you can kind of make your own mark on the game, and Deadlock definitely has that in it. So don't just expect the
oh,
metas to always be the same. I don't think that'll be the case.
also
Hmm.
on that note, because every now and then I see it, and I swear I'm not doing this in like bad faith. People say this genuinely. Is like, oh, can we get this? Sometimes people is like, hey, when's Deadlock getting Fearless Draft? And my answer is like, probably never. Like, I actually, given the fact that it never came to Dota, I don't think we are ever getting a Fearless Draft in Deadlock. Or if we do, it's going to be
Yeah, I mean,
like,
Dota always had great draft diversity,
I
so it was never
I'd
an
be
issue.
down to do it for like a fun like troll format, like maybe in
well,
like we need a few more heroes. So not
a
definitely not
few,
now.
a few more here. You need like triple the
Eh,
heroes, bro, to even consider
Nah,
it.
if we
It's
had
like,
like 20 more, we could definitely do fearless.
no, you
20 more
can't.
probably.
Absolutely not. Because the
Well,
Here's like
the
another
main
100.
Because the problem is like the game already has issues with like barely enough people in a single role. Like you're gonna go through
Yeah,
one
true.
game and then it's just like, all right, guys, we have nothing resembling frontline like for the rest
That's
of
true.
the
That's true.
series. Like,
League of Legends has a lot of redundancies, even
yes,
within
Yeah, they
like
do.
the characters. Like a lot of them do a lot of the same shit. To be honest, this is how it is with that game. Generally
um,
speaking, oh, we go.
oh, I was just gonna say that was pretty much. I was gonna say NA3. Honestly, kind of a misplay from Poppers People's overall. Saya just got farmed to like Giga Turbo admin status. Like I actually think Game 3 is like the least interesting of the NA series, and
I mean, game 3 felt like more like a mental boom because of
Yeah.
game 2. Like they probably thought we had this game in the bag. It was gonna be a quick 2-0. They lost the game, and I feel like all their mentals just went out the window, just straight up.
all right. So
Yeah, completely agree. It did feel like a mental boom in a way.
we
Also, I felt like, oh, go sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead. I was just gonna move us along, but final.
As a trend for like Popper's pupils, I felt like they always would get the lead. Even against my team, we played scrims, and the similar thing will happen where like they'll have the lead, and then inexplicably they'll let us do a play that'll let us get back into the game. I feel like once they get their handle on just like making sure there's no like potential to throw or they just do less unnecessary plays, they'll like probably be the best team in my opinion. I still think they have like some of the best players in the region right now, and I think they have the most experience. So they just need to like stop like they're basically playing themselves. It feels like in a lot of these games, to be honest,
Yeah,
because they're
I'm
always
not
in
sure
the
how
driver's
much they
seat.
VOD review, but yeah, I feel like they should probably just spend some more time like actually studying what they're doing and just buckling down and being a little bit more disciplined.
I know for a fact they VOD review a lot, like
Well,
average
okay,
does.
for Poppers
So
News,
they're committed to it.
by the way, there was a movement there, and I assume it's like because of the FPS Lounge fault, but like Pure Content is no longer coaching them, from what I understand, looking at social media. Like this was his last week with the team, and I think it seems to me like Pure Content. I have no idea like about the inner workings. This is like literally surface level thing. It may be more interest in the coaching for players, creating guide stuff versus coaching them, or I don't know if there was bad blood over the like however the FPS Lounge stuff went down, but they are, I guess, it seems like looking for a new coach. Correct me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
they could be. They
sure.
could be looking for a new coach. I'm not 100% sure if they like. There's not that many coaches available. I heard rumors, not that like Ranger is gonna coach like an IDO team or something like that, and like Pushy Pop is on Melee Creeps. There's not that many options left in NA, so they're kind of in like a weird spot. Like I feel like does E have more coaches Lightbringer? I know it's you. There's Parzi, what his name is.
Parzival.
There's
Yeah,
Parzival.
Parzival.
There's Play with me. Who like some other people, right?
I
That's
mean,
all I
Saf
got.
was coaching. He stepped away. He was a player, so a lot of the people that are coaching are also just players.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that we're kind of like capped out on coaches right now. Like whatever's like being in use right now is the amount of coaches in EU. It's probably the same
Mhm.
as NA, where it's like it's a drought on coaches.
All right,
Yeah.
so I got the tier list up here, and the good part is we did our first tier list last week. We don't have to do everything from scratch, but based on what we saw this week, what are we moving up or down? I'll start here and say something that I think clearly needs to be moved down from both EU and NA. I think Drifter took a hit this week.
Yeah, he's definitely like lower prio for sure. I think everything before him is probably the same. I think it's the same. But yeah, Drifter is probably like at the top of B. I don't think he's a bad character by any means, but he looked horrible in some of the games he was in for sure.
Yeah, I'll drop Drifter. I also would drop Viscous as well. Viscous could be at B now too.
Yeah, I think he's basically right with Drifter, like right next to each other. I don't
put
think
him
he's a bad
above.
character by any means,
Yeah.
but
Also, Silver went from getting played a lot in NA to absent. I still think like she's probably playable, and maybe people are overreacting in some part, but I mean, clearly 0 picks and where she was at, and you know, people having questions like, okay, does she actually fit into some of these team comps here? I feel like definitely can't be in front of Abrams. Like, absolutely no way. And Abrams himself.
yeah, I would put probably Silver. I don't think she's bad. Definitely towards the back end of B though, for sure. It really depends on the characters being picked if Silver's going to be playable.
Exactly.
Just based on like her kite ability. Like, you know, if you have a team with like Mina, Pocket, Mirage, like the character's just not playing. But there's some characters like when it's especially like frontline heavy, Silver starts to shine quite a bit more.
I like the. Oh, good.
No, I was gonna say I like where Abrams is. I think he's fine. He has a lot of bad comps. He has a lot of good comps too, though.
McGinnis, even though she got played in NA, I mean, I think she gets out of D tier for what we saw, but
yeah.
Does she go up to B? I'm not actually convinced she goes to B. I'd almost say like top of C.
I think top of C is good. Same for Victor.
For what it's worth, Listic does want to play this character, so you might see her in EU as well. We don't think this character's weak by any means.
Actually,
but yeah, it's an unproven like, you know, quantity right now, so we don't actually know how good she is. It's just like a theory craft.
We could put McGinnis at B, and then we have to move a character from B to A. I think, honestly, isn't Abrams at A or Paradox at A not that bad?
I don't think
I was going for Lash and A. Yeah, I think Lash was picked a lot.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Lash is good. Yeah.
Look
what about Mirage in terms of ordering? Like, are we going to get ahead of things here and put Mirage like a little bit lower in S tier, or even down to like?
I definitely think he's still there. You definitely first pick him.
Yes, but like, you have him over Pocket.
Although yes, I guess I would Pocket, do over him Pocket.
He was still getting picked over Pocket, so
yeah, and Pocket's like
I think he's in the right spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's in the right spot.
I think the S is fine. I would drop Apollo actually. I don't think Apollo's A anymore, to be honest.
I mean, I think Apollo's going up personally.
Yeah, really? The Locket thing is pretty bad though. The Locket thing's bad.
Yeah, for NA it was bad. So, I mean, maybe we got to average it out again. I definitely think Apollo's pretty good.
I think you can just leave Apollo where he is, like accounting for both. I think there's reasons to pick him more, and then Locket like maybe puts him a little bit down. Also, in terms of, you know, looking at curating C and D here, the Mo stuff, you know, obviously you got some of the Mo buffs here. Does Mo get out of the purgatory of D? Like, I don't think we saw enough from Mo to like put him up in B in theory, because you know, yeah, you have stuff like Silver. Silver didn't get picked, but I also think Silver would still perform well in some of the comps, like in theory. So I don't really want to drop Silver down in the C.
I mean, I think Mo probably is. He's definitely better than D. It's without a doubt. But it's more like, you know, what his performance was. I'd say you could put him in C for now, because like at least he was played. Even in the game he was in, he looked good. Like he won his lane. He was kind of dominating that game, and then the game just kind of flipped on its head from some avoidable mistakes, I think. Yeah,
we should put Hayes down to D. No,
I think her changes might. I think people might be overblowing her changes. I think people way overvalue fixation on this character, and they don't do the math behind it and realize how little max fixation is actually doing for the hero. It just sucks that you're also getting charged your 5 AP for the dagger to make it like a, you know, easily usable ability. So she probably is going to get D prio'd. I definitely would put her probably in.
Okay. I'd put her D at this point.
She can go D.
I low-key think that Ivy was getting a lot of presence in general. I feel like she's an A character too. She's just a really good like team fight better.
I mean, she did get picked a lot, but A would put her over Abrams and Viscous.
I mean, she's more pickable.
I'd put her like alongside Viscous and Abrams. The only reason I say that is because of the interaction between her ult and killing the more popular carries with Venator and Geist.
Exactly.
It's extremely hard to get away from a Ivy that wants you dead as a carry. Like, it's actually so hard. You basically have to buy Unstoppable and just walk away and pray she doesn't kill you. Because you're getting silenced. She's bringing a +1. That guy's amplified. It's really hard to win against that. And it's any time as well. You can just fly across the entire map. So I like her as an anti-carry pick, I guess.
Also, in thinking about here, I mean, we did see Vin play. I mean, Vin lost everything, but Vin and actually some of the fights, like it was kind of interesting. Like I'm not sure if Vin was the problem in like some of the games she was played in. Like one of the actually interesting things, we had the new like live stat tracker, and like Vin's damage that was being put out, like when Say was playing, was actually like shockingly high. To be
Oh yeah, that character does nuclear damage for sure. Like
Yeah,
as long as
like-
you're playing the character fine and you're not getting ran at, yeah, you're you know lobby admin
Well-
basically. I'd put her at high C at least.
Yeah, I think she like goes up to at least here, or actually between the Vin and the Mo, like who are we more likely to see next week between the two? Actually, I think I'm okay with this, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's probably like right alongside each other. I do think Rem is higher tier as well. I think he's going to be in B tier.
All right, we're putting
I think
Rem up to B.
Paradox
Do we
is-
drop? We gotta drop someone down to C, just because this looks weird otherwise.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a
I
little
think
too
I would
long on
drop
the B angle.
Paradox. I think Paradox is like deep route. Like I
think Yam is
she even
worse.
picked?
Nah, I think
you know
Yam, no?
Yamato definitely did not look great. I think the charge thing hurts Yamato, and also I think the part where like Yamato just has such downside if you like your farm doesn't go well for any reason. Like even a player as good as low main, like got a bad start on Yamato and like just looked like shit. Like the entire game is just like
Yeah, the character's just like a feast or famine, but like even when she's feasting, I feel like there's someone better for feasting, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there's definitely a better character for it. Like Mina, you'd rather have a Mina.
Yeah, like I don't know. She's just not. The nerfs are impactful enough that I don't think you should pick her, unless it's a specific counter or something.
Any other outliers here? I don't feel like I feel like Wraith and Viper like still have areas where they could be good. Like I don't know if they're like down in D. I mean, also does Dynamo Dynamo got used once? I don't.
It's so niche. I don't know. I would
I'm
not.
like I'm not a believer like necessarily from the game, especially given like niche is the right way of describing it. Where was that? So
Yeah.
I'm kind of.
It's just hard to force him. He's like a punish pick, like a 6-pick punish pick, and it's just so rare that those circumstances all line up.
Do we drop Warden?
He's just I don't know. I feel like it's like you're picking him for the carry position, and I feel like he does every carry's job worse.
Yes,
that's not for me.
I do think that there's probably a niche for him with like I don't know alt build or something with his 3, but players don't want to do that with Warden. They want to shoot his gun. So
yeah, his gun has one of the worst base DPS in the game too.
Yeah,
it's like
it's bad.
I think it's worse than Kelvin now. So I mean, we might see gun Kelvin eventually.
Oh yeah, we're mentioning deprowing Paradox here. Like, do we move Paradox down or at least further back in B?
Oh, actually, we could put Shiv at C. I feel like Shiv is also like a win more character that hasn't been like super strong in these games.
It's really easy to mess up on that character as well. Yeah, I think it could be like high C. I don't think the character is necessarily bad.
Yeah, C is not bad per se. Like I would say C is like pickable.
It's just what you have to do on the character is like so. It's like risk taking adjacent. Like it's not about like structured gameplay. You need to make kind of crazy plays.
It's a very solo individual type of play. Like
and
it's like the difference between like playing for your team and playing for yourself in a way.
Yeah, and a bad Shiv game looks kind of like a bad Yamato game. It's just horrible. Like you're just dying on cooldown and just doing nothing. You see, Paradox. I think she kind of got nerfed by the Echo Shard thing because I really feel like her most effective comp build was around the Echo Shard bomb, and that got a huge cooldown penalty on it now. So I just feel like people don't want to pick this hero. I don't think she's even bad, but it just feels like there's better characters to pick in her position, like Holiday or Bebop or something like that.
To me, I don't know if it. I still think there's gonna be a world where when other things are down, like she's still gonna get picked, but maybe just back a B. Like C, the Paradox feels. I mean, it may be a thing, but I feel more comfortable putting it here for this week.
Yeah, for EU's perspective, I would say that Rem is definitely like at least by Viscous. I think that Rem's super strong. I know that NA doesn't really care about this character, but just I don't know. Based on his results as well in EU, I think that Rem
is Rem over Ivy
really
then?
well.
I feel like
yeah, I think so personally. That's just my take for EU. I don't know how NA obviously prefers Ivy, but I mean we could put them right next to each other and it'd be fine.
They're like hand in hand.
Yeah,
I like this a little bit more. Or wait, did I have Viscous in front of Abrams? I forget. But I actually think Abrams top of B is probably fine from what we saw.
Yeah. I mean he's a solid character. He's just solid.
I don't have any disagreements with the list. Honestly, it seems fine to me so far.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the stuff is untested. Characters like Celeste, like her lane is horrible, but like her ult has just been nonstop buffed. Like maybe there's some X factor with that, but we don't know unless we see it in comp. So
All right, so we locking this in for this week. I'm pretty good with this. I think we covered all the main
yeah, it looks solid to
aspects.
me.
All right, well there you
Yeah.
go. For those who take screenshots and be like, "This is the tier list." This is where we're leaving it. And now we're gonna move on to the Q&A, and we'll be wrapped up. And Crayon will finally be able to get into some ranked. We'll be sending Crayon the host at the end of stream. So.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. I think that's it for our tier list. It's not looking too bad, guys.
Yeah, I feel pretty
Yeah,
good about
solid.
it.
Yep. It's gonna be funny though if like someone just finds some random cook build and then a day from now we're just like, oh, we should have put this guy higher. That's how it always is all the tier list if you make it early into a patch.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that it evolves. Like this is our best understanding at the time. Who knows what the future holds? It's not this is the tier list from now until eternity. I mean, look, we're gonna go through a meta someday where it's like Wraith will be S tier again. You just gotta wait for that period. If we can get to a moment where like Shiv is no longer used in comp, anything can happen.
Rue?
All right. Here on the Q&A. Okay. The very first question from Skooky. Quote, if you were presented with the opportunity with a completely guaranteed lack of consequences and all other problems, would you hop off the show, lie down, and take a nap right now?
Not me. I'm super awake. I woke up super late today. It was a heat wave yesterday. I'm enjoying the colder day. So
Crayon?
Yeah, I would love to lay down right now, but I mean, I gotta get ready to play ranked.
For me, I'm actually good. Like I got good sleep, a little bit too much sleep, maybe to where I was doing some things last minute today. Next question from Soren Markov. How would you describe the current meta? We had M1 metas, tank metas, death ball, melee, earn / AoE, laning meta, split push, but the current meta seems very non-distinct, even with hero prio seeming quite set. The only thing that stands out to me is that a second rift fight is king, and tempoing a game is more of a priority than playing for late game.
I mean, it's definitely like a lane / tempo meta. I would say that Spirit Burst is kind of at the forefront of what's going on right now, but it's heavily dictated by how your lane goes. So naturally that limits the overall pool of characters if you're playing in that way. The thing is, that kind of comp has to be executed pretty perfectly, otherwise you're going to get outscaled. And I think you kind of saw that in the first EU game this week with the Leviathan versus VE. And they had mostly just all tempo stuff, like lane winners, and then they made one mistake, and our comp kind of just slow rolled. We scaled back up, and they just had no chance.
I agree with that, and I also think there's a heavy priority on mid boss. A lot of teams are drafting for like just the mid boss contest, and you kill one and you secure your mid boss. Like that's why characters like Abe and Dynamo are getting a lot more appearances. It feels like.
Yeah, I was actually
We've
going
seen
to mention that
characters
as
like
soon as you
Calico
mentioned
work
mid
that as
boss is
well.
that is one thing the melee creeps in the challenger match their comp did really well is like it kind of realized in the middle again is like, wait a second, this comp is actually absurd at securing mid boss because just the Dynamo alone is like, oh god, like this is painful. Like even your pub, like playing in pubs is just like, wow, you have to give this hero more respect in mid boss contests. So it's a fair point.
Yeah, for sure. You're seeing earlier mid bosses as well, and I think it's good characters like Calico who have melee shred, and you can just punch the crap out of mid boss. It dies super quick. So you're kind of just putting teams in like a do or die situation, and if they mess it up, then the game's really in your hands at that point.
All right, next question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Crayon.
Completely unrelated to Q&A. We didn't discuss the Spirit Burn thing, but what do you think about Spirit Burn? I think that item actually got better in a lot more situations than we thought. Like people thought it was a flat out nerf when it came out, but it's like better, no?
It's a nerf in like the kind of toxic way to use it, where people were just proccing it with Mystic Shot Tank Buster. But I think for the intent of the item, it's much better. I think it's overall a buff for the characters that really liked Spirit Burn before. So
yeah, because the thing is, if you're putting out a lot of damage loss, spirit damage is inherently like going to be AoE anyways, and rather than like it's going to have, if you're hitting all the characters involved regardless, you have a lot more consistency on getting spirit burn on every character as opposed to before where like maybe you start the fight like burst one guy and then spirit burn procs on them, but then other people join the fight and now your spirit burn is on cooldown and you're missing that damage from them. So I think for a lot of average fights, it probably got better and also feels a little bit more intuitive. So I think it was a good change, even if it ends up being a total buff and the item's like arguably too strong, like, okay, now you just tweak the item. Design wise, I think it was a solid change.
Yeah, for sure.
From
I think you had sorry, random tangent.
No problem. I mean, we need to talk about it anyways. From Korsaka, do you have players that you think are up and coming, perhaps needing the right team to form around them or push themselves a little further before they take the spotlight? I take Korsaka's question here to say, for those that are in pubs, and this is probably like the most Crayon-centric question because you're out in the trenches every day in NA, like, are there any pub demons that you're seeing that just, you look at them and be like, wow, they actually could just be like that guy in comp play?
I have a list actually. So my top 5 pub players in NA that I think could go comp and be really good are 1, Recon. He was on BWC last week, right?
Correct.
And 2 was Connor. He's on Pulsar right now. 3 would probably be, I think, Division. He's a really good support player. And honestly, if it wasn't Birdie on MLC, I think Division would have been a good shout. In that line of thinking too, I think Galore is an NA player that's also really good at support. I feel like the support role is like super underdeveloped in NA because a lot of support players like they don't branch out of support. But I think if they have the EU style of like support play where they just like they play support heroes and then they switch to like the carry sometimes, like Obi Kim does, for example, I think they would actually be really good at that role. Number 5, I'm not gonna lie, I just said 5 because I wanted to make it sound nice, but it's honestly that was the 4 off the top of my head.
And then, like, if you happen to have anyone there, but I don't know how much, on the pub end.
I mean, as a contrary thing, I guess I don't really see like it's you can like scout mechanical talent right out of matchmaking, but the truth is like even when Cosmetical joined our team, it was kind of like he joined. And I said like, welcome to comp, you suck, right? Like that's basically how you start out. Like you think you're good at laning, sorry, you suck at laning, and like you start from the basics again. So even though they might seem really insane in matchmaking, the truth is that it's a world of difference between comp and matchmaking. I'm sure Crayon can attest to that as well, even playing between it. So
Crayon just walking bees or beaten and bruised from the challenger match, like
yeah.
I mean, toward the end, I mean, I felt like I got a good handle on it. Like, I mean, I gave OC the belt in lane yesterday. I don't know.
You beat a man on high ping.
I don't know. It's
kidding.
120 ping according to the new rules. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but by the way, like we did get like some shit from that from some of the NA players being like, what is this against West Coast players? Look, NS Open ran under the same rules where like an EU player is present, we played on East. And I think the reality is for Deadlock, like my sense of the scene and like what TOs are likely to do is that I do think like even if something is based in NA, rules that are somewhat, at least reasonable for EU to where EU can play even at a disadvantage are going to be a thing. So it's like, does it suck as a West Coast player? Yes, but you still have better ping than the EU player that's coming on in. So it's... I can see why people kind of get frustrated at it, but I also think that when a game gives the opportunity to have like some amount of like cross-region play, so long as like there's a small difference, I think people are going to trend to trying to have cross-region play because it's exciting. Is it going to be 100% fair? No. Like if you use playing on NA, like some people are going to be like high ping, and yes, West Coast people will probably be annoyed if they're not in Central, but I think just the way the game is going, you're going to see more tournaments in that line. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way to avoid something like this is just to not allow cross-region play. So it's you have to compromise somewhere.
I mean, I think the Pandora's box is out. At this point, you can just allow all regions to play as long as they have decent ping. I think it's better for the game to allow as many people that can play as possible because, like, right now, I think NA would be really stale. If OC didn't come over, yesterday, I'm pretty sure it would have been a pretty bad finals. So I'm excited for the future of Deadlock to be more of an international game. I know, like, in other games like Dota, it was started out as like, oh, you have your region or country, right? You play with your country, right? But as like the money got bigger, the orgs got bigger, you just bought out all the like cross-region players, and you have like a full like international roster. And I think that's like the future of Deadlock. Like something where like kind of like Buff Majority. Like Buff Majority has like 6 people from different nationalities basically all together on the same team.
Yep.
Next question, and you can just be real quick on this because you go in this in depth, it's going to be another like 40 minutes. But which characters do you think need to be nerfed or buffed the most, and which characters should be buffed or nerfed the hardest? I mean, I'm just going to simplify this as who need buff, who need nerf, first part. And then the second part is talking about older characters like the release batch. need reworks to be viable? Do you agree or disagree? So basically, original characters in the game versus like, Billy that, seeming, Billy has like a pretty turbocharged kit. So we'll start the first part. I guess I'll simplify it here. Lightbringer, give me one buff, one nerf.
I know people want me to say Billy probably. I actually kind of like when Billy's playable as a frontliner. If I had to give a nerf, it would be probably to Doorman and the way that his doors operate. Mostly because they're affecting your average player way more than a character like Billy's. Like Billy's not like dominating in low elo, right? He's just like a frontliner. He's fun to play. Whereas Doorman is kind of just he puts a door down and then he stares at a veil or whatever, walks up and hotel guests you, and then throws you at the walker, and it's just super unfun. I hope that they could find some way to nerf that. What would I buff? Who would I buff? Man, I don't know. Honestly, buff Viper because I like Viper.
Well,
There's no reason.
Yeah.
Just buffer.
Crayon, one buff, one nerf.
You stole my nerf, so I'm gonna have to go with an unorthodox answer. I would say I would nerf Graves 3. I think that Graves is like a character that's in a weird position because like she's a really frustrating character to play against, and she also is not fun to play against for low elo players. And in high elo, she becomes disturbing because she has a similar thing to Mirage, where like when you get hit by a Graves 3, if you're a gun character, your gun is just gone. You don't do any damage. You can't play the game, and it's just like really frustrating. And you get shredded by all the spirit characters, right? I think that by nerfing her 3, you could create a better character. And so that's why I was going to say, for the buff, I would prefer if they buffed the 1 and made it more of like a minion summon, and then you nerf the 3 and create like a completely different character. Like make it like an area control character similar to McGinnis, but remove some of the debuff aspect to it. Because I think the debuff is actually secretly one of the main reasons why she's good, right? She's a late game scaling character that is like super frustrating to deal with in low elo. And she also has a really good niche as like a anti-gun hero in the high elo, right? You can just set it on a silver. They can't play the game. Abrams, you name it, guys, whatever. Those characters just can't play when Graves is in the game and is a good hero.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think for me, trying to think on the nerf for the buff, like, okay, this is like turbo bias, but I also think like drafts start getting to a weird spot where like M1s are like in a questionable spot. Like a lot of the like Geist Ven prio we've gotten is because like Warden got hit repeatedly. Like maybe Warden's in like, it leads into the rework part of things, but I think Warden's gun damage probably got hit too much. Like, I mean, you kind of take a look at the gun damage scaling over time. It just like, it's the casual. It's like, oh boy, Yoshi's here to drop another 0.03 reduction on Warden gun scaling. And I think we actually finally hit the tipping point. So maybe restore some of that to Warden just so, again, you have more of an option between like Ven and Geist. Nerf wise, it's kind of weird. Even at the top tier, I mean, I think the Doorman points are like very solid, hard to disagree with. Pocket's in a weird spot because I feel like if you nerf Pocket too much more, they're not going to be played. Pocket, they're usually very tenuous where they're either really, really good or they disappear. So I don't know if I touch Pocket one way or another. Nerf-wise, it's weird. I feel like I'm usually just more buff-pilled than nerf-pilled on a lot of these things. I don't actually feel
That's
like
a fun
I
way
want
of
a ton
looking
of
at
things
game
nerfed at the
design.
moment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you want him to do his thing, and you want him to be good at doing his
Yeah.
thing. So it kind of sucks when he just sucks at doing his thing.
And then the other thing is like, do you think like the release characters need reworks? I feel like you're going to get more over time anyways. Like we got one with Wraith, and at some point Warden's ult will do something different. But nothing is like super glaring. Like I think some of the older kits like you could rework, but I don't know if it's a priority over new heroes personally.
Mhm.
I would say like some of the characters, like you look at the kits and like, oh, these are kind of bland. And I'll just like reference, I could say Street Fighter like Ryu or Dota like Dragon Knight. The characters' kits are bland. They're like the everyman character, and like games kind of need that. You need to have like a core base to build off of. So even though the characters might not be all that interesting, as long as they're still good at what they do and they're simple, I don't necessarily think they need to rework. I think they're fine as they are.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's nice to have simple characters in this game, as the game's already has a lot to like learn. So having like just like a basic like, okay, this guy just sits there, he charges and punches, and then he sucks, and that's it. That's easy, right? I think that's cool. It's cool to have that, and then you could have like the super deep character like Silver. Oh, she's like a hunter, valiant hunter character, then she becomes a dog, and then she like starts biting you. Like, it's cool.
Another question also from Miracle M. How would you feel about potential jungle rework with things like vision camps, siege camps, etc., that add incentive to interact with jungle? And I think my response to all of this is just kind of, I think the jungle is incomplete, and we will be getting more jungle things. Like, I actually don't think too heavily about this, because I think when you look at the state of the game, the jungle is the most obvious thing that is clearly going to get a rework at some point, and some of those things may be a factor.
I mean, the reward of the jungle as well is kind of the soul value you get, right? It's meant to be like a resource that you're supposed to drain. I don't think you need to get more, especially like vision. I really don't think that vision is something that they want to give out for free. They seem very, very, very hesitant to do anything related to wards or anything vision related. I think they'd rather have the game be like the map be a bit more mysterious than like say Dota or League, where there's just wards everywhere and it's hard to move.
Mm-hmm.
Question specifically for Lightbringer from Slumpy saying, what was the reasoning behind the Mo ban? I know we covered it earlier about like why Mo was getting banned B versus Abraham. So you can just answer this like pretty simply.
I mean, yeah, I went over it in the previous when we were talking about the drafts. It's just we didn't have Fears Captain. It was we didn't have a lot of experience on the patch, and we knew that one of the players was playing a lot of Mo. They just like playing the character. So the way that the draft was going to shake out, I'm not going to share too many details. It just made more sense for us to ban a character we knew they liked and wouldn't affect our draft too much more. So we just banned Mo.
From King Slime, 2 questions, both relating to items. Are there any items that you feel would be better if they had a component to build up from, so something that you could break into chunks? And the second is there any item you feel misses the mark in terms of design space, as in that space is filled by a better item, it's a redundant item for most characters, etc., etc.?
That's kind of a complicated question.
I have a few items like that actually. So I think that Shao Weave would be much better if it had a build up. Similar to Veilwalker, Shao Weave and Veilwalker are like almost hand in hand. Shao Weave is a weird item because like it's cost too much to make and there's just better options. I think that it needs like a full rework, or perhaps like it could be a purple item. I think Shao Weave would be better for the purple characters ironically, because they don't really. It doesn't occupy a space. Like there's no really assassin gun characters, right? So it just doesn't have like a good space really.
And I think Shadow Weave's biggest problem is the uptime on it. It's got a 45-second cooldown. I think that's really what makes it kind of an unplayable item, but not really related to components. I think a lot of the orange items are just straight up bad. And you could use like Lucky Shot. Just feels horrible to buy because it's like you're just saving up all this money to do. Like it's like any item that has a prerequisite set of items to be good should probably have an easy build up. And like Lucky Shot sucks unless you have a bunch of weapon damage already. It just feels bad to have your inventory completely loaded with a bunch of items before the item that your big item you're going to buy is good. That just feels bad.
Well, purple characters have the freedom of buying 6K straight up. Orange characters, there's not many 6Ks. The best 6K for orange characters is, funny enough, a green item like Siphon Bullets. Like it's the only like green item I'm gonna buy as a gun item.
So I would say like the entirety of the orange 6K kind of misses the mark, and it's just like they're all low-key kind of like boring stat sticks. I just don't think they're very interesting.
Also, you stole my answer for Lucky Shot. Like, yeah, the waiting to buy Lucky Shot is just oof.
For a component item, I was gonna say I would like if they made Magic Carpet have a component. What if they made it have like build from duration extenders? That'd be cool.
That seems like a reasonable thing for it to build from as well.
Because Carpet's just not like an item you would buy because it costs too much. Like, okay, we just said how you can buy 6K out of a spirit character, but like instead of Carpet, you could just buy Boundless. You could buy Refresher, Spirit Burn. There's so many options. Courage. Carpet would be better if it was a build-up item, and then it's like it's like a cool niche for like I don't know Lash, right?
Yeah.
You can build it for early for Lash as like some breakpoint slop, and then you just build into the Giga item.
Also,
it's kind of funny because I think that it's just straight up broken, but yeah, it just feels impossible to buy because there is no build-up.
I'll be the devil here and say for Carpet, like I think you can game design wise, like not necessarily every item needs to be like necessarily viable. I actually think it's okay to have a few items that's like, holy crap, that's a meme. Like I think back to like early Dota, like really early Dota, because I can't speak to like how some of the things like would later evolve, but like, you know, when Dagon like wasn't actually like an item you would ever want to build, and maybe that's still the case now, I don't know, but like you're owning a game and you decide, you know what, this is a game I'm just gonna like go Dagon 5 on a hero it makes no sense on and just like blast people. I think it's kind of funny to have items like that, and Magic Carpet is a little bit in that mode where it's like, oh, I'm having fun this game. I'm gonna go carpet. I don't necessarily think every item has to have like a use and like viability. I also think there's like a world where sometimes having something that's fun there is totally okay too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think yeah, that is true. I think cool, like fun utility items are like a good idea. For completely related to that is I want them to add like some of the legendary items. Like I would love for them to add carpet to the game, like actually as a base item. I feel like that's something I hope happens with the item update that's happening soon, where they just add like some off the wall items. It feels like they kind of standardize a lot of the items. It feels like at least the orange category. Like the orange category doesn't have that many like cool stuff. I think purple and green have a lot of cool stuff, but the orange category is like kind of barren.
Sleeper, yeah, it's just stat
Yep.
sticks.
From Sketchy JJ, quote, what are your, and this is a little bit of a retread, so again, we can be quick, but what are your specific favorite additions in the matchmaking update? For example, ranked mode now has 3 banned heroes instead. My simple answer is Duo Q Max for ranked, thank God.
I mean, I think for me, it's time will tell, but I imagine they're going to make the matchmaking a lot more strict. So your game should, in theory, be better. Time will, we don't know for sure, but I'm assuming with ranked they're going to be quite a bit more strict with overall matchmaking. So
Being able to see my team comp is the biggest thing I enjoy a lot about it. The amount of times I will play Great Talent and see a Vindicta on my team is like insane. So I'm happy that if I see a Vindicta on my team, I'm Great Talent, I can just switch out for free. That's like one of my biggest complaints I had with the update or the current system before.
You don't love Phantom Strike becoming the Omega God item as well as Knockdown in these situations? It's wild.
just doing everything.
Yeah. From Alcoholistica. That's a tough name to say, and I'm not even sure I said it correctly, but I apologize. Deadlock is a game with pretty evil shit like Mo and Krill. Damn. Okay. I come from games. It's evil in the sense that it's like Big Lockdown. Before people lose their minds. Quote, I come from games like MVC2 and UMVC3 where taking your hands off the stick for 30 seconds just happens. Is there any way to get the more casual player base hero shooter, in parentheses, accustomed to evil shit? Or is it just impossible? This is actually a really interesting question where I guess I'll go first on this one and say that I think people just have to deal with some of the CC effects. And I think games like Overwatch, if you look at some of the changes they made over time, in my mind, actually got worse when they gave in the complaints and like made CC worse over time. CC is a good game mechanic. Like, yes, it sucks to be held back, but it is an important lever for like balance and making cool game design decisions. So I think people just kind of have to deal with it. Like, yes, there's always going to be the people who be like, I don't have control of my character for 3 seconds. I'm losing my mind. I don't actually care. Like, I actually think CC is important and people do just have to learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from the FGC as well. Like when you're watching Marvel, yeah, you're getting combo for 30 seconds, but at any moment in those 30 seconds, you're kind of waiting for that guy to screw up mechanically as well. And it's possible to screw up. Like, yes, pressing 4 action is, it's decided, but you can press 4 bad. That's a thing you can do. And understanding when they're doing that is a big part of getting better. If I had advice for a casual player, I would just say become the evil, because then you understand. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
less evil than you think it is. Like, just play Mo, and you'll understand that it's not as easy as you think it is for that Mo guy. Like, it's actually kind of hard. But I think a lot of people are coming from hero shooters are going to want to play carry, and yeah, you're probably going to get abused by Mo.
Okay, from Traff, and again, a very interesting question. In pro play, you see tanks and supports creating space, but in casual lobbies, almost everyone picks damage. Do you want to see Deadlock commit to the Holy Trinity and accept the problems that come with it, or keep the rules loose and let people play whatever? I personally think Deadlock has kind of landed in a pretty good spot in this regard, where like there is a benefit to certain team comps, but we also see elements where you don't always have that, and like it's very kind of gray zone on some of the setups. I think once you go hard into like you are in this role entirely, that is it. It does create more problems, especially if you, God forbid, you get to a point where for ranked, like you have to have people queue up for like a tank specifically, then it all goes to hell. And I think Deadlock's gameplay is deep enough that you can have meaningful games without like all the issues you run into in something like an Overwatch when you don't have like a role queue in a game like that.
I mean, right off the bat, roll queue is tripling your queue times. Like you are waiting forever for a game. Okay, like I really disagree with roll queue. I hated roll queue in Overwatch. I liked 6v6 open. Like, to be top 500 in a ladder where everyone can be anything is a lot more prestigious than I'm top 500 support and like you're a Mercy main. Like people don't respect you that way. And I'm not saying like that's like a bad thing or whatever. Like you're still obviously top 500 player, but
They don't look
roles
at
in
you
this
the
game,
same as like someone else.
yeah,
Bro.
they don't. You know, it's like you're playing Ana. Like I'm just being real. That's just how it is. If you're a top 500 player in non-role queue, people are gonna respect you a lot more than otherwise. Uh,
Mhm.
and in this game, it's pretty clear they have very distinctly designed the game for everyone to do damage. They don't want people to be like a hard support because
Right.
if they did, they would have money disparity in like a big way straight out of lane. They'd be like, oh,
Yep.
this support can go stack camps or something, and they have very specifically avoided that. So
Yeah.
I
There's
think
only
that
like
yeah,
slight
they,
advantages, but not like significant ones like Dota or League.
yeah, and I think they want everyone to be able to play the game equally, like doing damage and having impact on the game outside of just sitting in the back and pressing rescue beam.
Mhm. Which I would love. I think that's the
Yeah.
best thing about this game where like a lot of people in my chat, new players will be like, okay, I used to play Ana and Kiriko in Overwatch, and I want to play like a support. And I'm like, there is no support. Just play whoever you want. Like
Yeah,
you could make any character support. Like there's this person I used to play with and from OCE. They used to play Rescue Beam Lash, and it was like actually good because Lash he flies in the air and you can rescue beam someone like a rescue helicopter and save someone.
Yeah, especially against
yeah.
like particularly if you're up against like a Bebop or a Holiday or thereabouts. Like, oh, you got hooked, rescue beam, and Bebop is suddenly sad. The other part to this question from Treff here is most Deadlock heroes feel like can get them down after a few games. Sinclair is the exception. IMO. Do you think the roster is missing heroes with real skill ceiling, or is that a deliberate choice to keep the game approachable? And my gut take on this is that the game is technically, to this point, I'm not even sure if it's been called. I guess this patch did say beta season 1, so it is in beta, but an actual beta, not a promotional beta. I think it is a guarantee, given the design team, DNA that is on this game, that we are in the Fisher Price heroes part of things. Things are basically guaranteed to get more complicated in a cool way as time goes on. I think I would be shocked if you went the Overwatch approach, where like the thing that really disappointed me about Overwatch hero design as times on is I feel like Overwatch, like instead of giving you like Tracer 5.0 with like even more complexity, like it went back for a long period of time. I feel like Deadlock is definitely gonna be the opposite, where it's who knows what's gonna be in the future, but I think things will just get more complicated in a good way.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now, since it being a 3D MOBA that's a shooter, I think they had a lot of issues with like creating new ideas because, like, I mean, no one else is. You can't template this, right? It's not like with League of Legends where they could just look at the Dota forums and steal kits from there, right? Like you're making like you're in uncharted territory. So like right now, you're not gonna see like crazy abilities. Like we still have like at least 10 of the cast have a grenade type of ability where you just drop a circle on the ground or something like that. So I'm sure that in the future we'll get more and more complicated heroes because I mean you can see with the new patch of characters, right? Like Billy, Silver, Apollo, like those 3 characters alone are just like much more mechanically deeper than any of the characters we had before.
I mean, I also think that the question is kind of downplaying the difficulty of the game as a whole.
Yeah.
This game is hard.
Yeah,
Just
I was
from
gonna say
baseline.
that
Even
too.
your most
Mhm.
vanilla characters are difficult. There's punches, there's parries, there's wall bounces, there's all this kind of crazy crap
Like
you
the
can do.
basics of the game itself is hard, like the
Yeah,
core. That's also why I think they have simple kits too, because like the
yeah,
basics are hard already. Like moving around
yeah,
and sliding
exactly.
around is hard.
The ceiling, like I mean, you go from like early days of 2024 Deadlock where people are just rolling on the ground. They're just spamming. They don't even know why they're pressing roll. It's a roll, so they're pressing it.
Mhm.
Into people doing like roll double crouch cancel into you know uh recovery cancel bunny hop or whatever, like all this crazy crap that people are doing, and those are universal mechanics as well. I like if you add complexity to the characters on top of that, you can kind of make like an unapproachable
No.
kit, and
Mhm.
it could be bad for them too.
I was something really funny is that like we've gone so advanced at movement that like dash jumping is considered bad now. Like a lot of people say never dash jump unless you have K dash, which is true. Honestly, like dash jumping is
Yeah.
not a good mechanic anymore because people have gotten so much good, so much better at the movement that like people realize that it's better to just use your 1 stamina doing anything else, or 2
I mean,
stamina
you can tell
doing
that as well.
double anything else.
They actually hotfixed in. They buffed dash jump. It's still not good enough, but I mean they buffed it. They're
Yeah,
obviously looking at it.
Like I remember back in the day, people were just like, "You should dash jump everywhere," and like now it's
Yeah.
like, "Don't dash jump."
Okay.
It's just completely
And never
crazy.
forget the OG K Dash, where it just made dash jump free. As far as
That one was so
Oh,
fire. They need to
it
bring that
was
one
so
back.
good.
They need to bring it back.
That was just, it was like, yep, you're definitely going to be doing that everywhere. Also, everyone by K Dash. But that was also back in the era where you could stack speed on Warden and go like, race car like 40 ms across the map. It's like, who needs movement tech? Just go zoom. But final question here from Danielle. Is there a hero that you wish you could change their ult entirely? If so, which character and what you would change? And I feel like it roasts a lot here, but just still a favorite of mine. And I definitely think the ult is easily top 3 worst ults in the game in terms of impact and what people give a shit about. But Warden ult I would probably potentially entirely rework, because I think the problem with Warden ult is that if it's too good, then you just get Leap Warden in its like current form. But I think there's a lot of reworks you could do to it. Even the playoff, like the concept of last stand, and make it somehow based on doing more if you've taken more damage, or I don't know, just anything else. I would rework Warden ult. That's me.
I mean, I think I'd go with McGinnis. I think her ult is
Yep.
either like insanely overpowered or completely useless suicide button. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you can change to make her better, but I just feel like it's so hard to use in the current landscape of the game that it needs significant changes, not just be like a damage check ult. I think it's kind of like a crappier Bebop ult.
I was saying I want them to change Pocket ult. I think Pocket is funny because Pocket is basically a Dota port. He's basically Puck, just like his ult is different though, and the ult being Venomancer, where it's just like a AOE anti-heal thing. I've never liked it because I felt like it ruined the rest of their kit. Right, Pocket's always has been either ult bot or not played, because if their ult's not good, then the rest of the kit's not good enough to hold it up. Like I want them to make the rest of the kit feel like an assassin, like backline infiltrator, and then like you get out. The ult makes it so much of like hit and run. You just like fart on them and then run away. It's like to
Yeah.
me not engaging.
I think in the same vein, I think you make up a good point about Pocket and some of the struggles that they have with their kit, where Affliction is just the thing to be balanced around. I also, in terms of hero design, I think Sinclair has kind of an odd design where you have like Vexing Bolt and Assistant that work really well with each other. I'm not convinced that Rabbit Hex and Alt Copy, like I think Alt Copy is something that, it can work and like can go on other characters. I don't know if it like fits on Sinclair. Like I do think there's a world where you could rework Sinclair's Rabbit Hex into something else and rework Sinclair's ult into something else and end up with a better hero that more like synergizes with the assistant mechanic. And also I think in this stage of the game, like maybe in the future when you get draft and otherwise, you can bring back like an ult clone mechanic. But I do think, you think top of show over time, I was like, okay, as Dynamo, you have to hide your Dynamo so you don't get counterpicked by Sinclair. I think for the current stage of game we're at right now, Sinclair ult is actually like kind of a problem. So I'd almost rather him get something different now and then you bring that ult back on someone else later down the line.
Yeah, I completely agree with the Sinclair thing too. It's because they've overtuned the ult so much, because like Sinclair's is not a popular character, so their logic is like, okay, we need to keep buffing him so that people will play him. That's what it's been like for a long time.
But otherwise, gentlemen, we've hit the end of the show. Final thoughts or otherwise before we end things and send people off to Crayon for those watching on Twitch.
I mean, all I'm noticing is my teammates are fuming about ranked, so I kind of want to tune into their streams and see what's going on there.
Yeah, I keep seeing that too. A lot of people at the high level aren't happy, but like I said, they're in the interim period. There's a lot of people who probably aren't returners in these games with returns players. It's just what it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be a messy week for sure.
Okay,
But
so
I think if we let it simmer for a bit, it'll be fine.
honestly, it sounds like quality entertainment. Also, it also means that if you're not reliant on streaming and doing active ladder for practice, maybe you just watch some of the popcorn the next 2 days and let some of the things settle before jumping in. But that also means you're not playing Deadlock for 2 days, which feels bad. So do whatever feels good to you. But this has been the Graveyard Shift number 2. And yes, we've heard you as far as comments. We will look to get more in terms of just adding bookmarks on to the podcast. And we're working on getting on the Spotify and Apple, which we'll tweet out when that's done. But really appreciate all the support, those that tune in, and happy to bring this for you week after week. I will not be here next week, but Jake will be. So we're swapping off. Jake right now is off internationally, and I will be off internationally next week. But, still in good hands no matter what. But it's the end of the show, and everyone, we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.